Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. Whenever you're listening or watching this, thank you for tuning in to the Softlock Game Awards 2023 special. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and joining me is the Wah Peach to my Wario, Jonathan. How you doing today?
Wah Peach?
Did you see this? They leaked Wah Peach character art from, concept art for Strikers or something from way back in the day. It was a Wario version of Peach.
No, what does it look like?
Not what you would think. Looks like Tingle, like purple Tingle, but a woman. That's what Wah Peach looks like.
Isn't there is a lady Tingle in that one
That's true.
Advance game, remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I remember it. It didn't even come out in America, so but yeah, you've seen it because it's all on the what is it? Like top 10 weirdest things in Zelda.
Today we are going to be talking about the Game Awards, which is, for better or worse, the most popular and arguably most prestigious award show in gaming every year. We're actually doing something a little funky. So right now, it is currently December 5th when Jonathan and I are recording this. When you're watching or listening to this, it'll be after the Game Awards is already over. And so the first half of this show is going to be us in the past predicting who we think is going to win the awards, as well as making a few, predictions about what announcements might be at the show. And then we're going to splice that together with a clip of us after we have watched the awards with our reactions to see what we got right, as well as what we thought of the show. So we're going to play a little game, just see who can predict the most awards correctly. So if you're not interested in the prediction portion of this, since you've already seen the show, presumably, feel free to skip to the timestamp shown on screen or in the description. But if not, we're just going to go category by category and say who the nominees are, what we think of the games, and then who we think is going to win. Let's see. Just so we put it out there, we're not going to be predicting any of the esports categories because we don't really got a lot to say about that.
We should, based on... I think we should do every single category, and the ones that we really don't know, we should still guess just based on face value alone. I think that'll be funny.
Okay, if that's what you think, that's what we'll do.
I was just looking at Content Creator of the Year. I have zero clue who any of these people are, and I want to speak about it. And I feel like that for a lot of these categories, for the first year of the Game Awards is the first year where I'm just sitting here going like, am I so out of touch? And then I say, no, it's the Game Awards that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, let's put it out there, Softlock Podcast is not a professional operation in any way. So Jonathan and I don't get free games or games early or anything. So there's going to be plenty of games in these categories that we haven't played or even watched videos of. But that's just how it is. We're going to base it off of the knowledge that we have from being a part of the gaming community. We have this podcast, so it's kind of our duty to keep up with social media and the conversations as to what's in the zeitgeist, listen to other podcasts and discussions about games. So while I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, I've heard a lot about it and I've seen a lot about it to kind of understand where it weighs compared to other games. And I think that's perfectly fine.
Too long didn't read. We're just going to have some fun. That's main goal.
Yep. This is, obviously, it's just for fun. Who cares who wins what award and if we get it right or not? We're just playing a little game. So, I think fine. If we're going to do the esports, I think we'll breeze through the esports categories because there's about 25 categories and then 6 esports categories or so, maybe.
Yeah,
so we've got a lot of ground to cover.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start at the end and work our way up to Game of the Year since that's like the big one.
That's a good idea.
So let's start with Best Esports Event. I assume you have the website open, Jonathan, that has all the nominees and everything.
I do. Oh, fuck, man. Oh, well, there's Evo. All right.
Best Esports Event. We have recognizing an event across single or multiple days that delivered a best-of-class experience for participants and the broadcast audience. So our nominees are the 2023 League of Legends World Championship, Blast TV Paris Major 2023, no idea what that is, EVO 2023, the International Dota 2 Championship 2023, and the Valorant Champions 2023.
Do we even have to discuss this? I think we're both going to pick the same thing.
Are we both going to pick EVO?
I think we're both going to pick EVO.
We're both going to pick EVO, and it's not going to win.
This is yeah. Well, my thing is that that's the only category besides Blast TV, which I don't know what that is, which is like multiple games. Every other championship was or esports event was just like one specific game, which is like, I get that's fine, I guess. But just as someone who doesn't watch these things, Evo is mythical in a way. So
I do love Evo, and it is the only one out of any of these that I actually tuned into for a little bit of time, but I feel like the International always wins. No, not the International. The League of Legends Championship always wins, so I don't know. I'm still going to vote Evo. I'm still going to vote Evo because I think it made a big splash this year, but I don't know about that one.
All right, that's fine.
Next category.
Yeah, let's move on.
Best esports coach. Oh, God.
Geez.
The esports coach judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2023. Now, I don't know who any of these people are, so I'm not even going to bother reading it. You can go to the Game Awards website if you'd like to see who the people are. All I know is that I know that one of these people came out on Twitter and was like, dude, why am I on this list? I didn't coach this year.
Oh, I vote for whoever that is.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Who here has the coolest username? We have Hom, XTQZZZ, Gunba, Zonic, and Potter. I mean, we got to go with XTQZZZ, right?
Yeah, I was either going to go with him or Christine Potter Chi for being the only woman on the nominations.
Fair. All right, so you're going to lock in Potter. I'm going to lock in...
So, yes, I'm going to be sexist for a good cause. I'm going to,
I don't know. I feel like that's the opposite of sexist, but all right, next category.
Yeah.
We got a lot of ground to cover.
Is
right,
it? No, I'm not even. Go. No, I was gonna say, is it? No, it's stupid.
This is like a crazy episode. Is there a gas leak in both of our houses?
There is a gas leak. No, as soon as the actual esports section is over, I'm hoping we'll revert to normalhood. So let's just keep going.
Best esports team. Recognizing a specific esports team, not the full organization, very specific, judged the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2023. We have the Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, Gaiman Gladiators, JD Gaming, and Team Vitality.
I don't think Gaiman Gladiators, I don't know who they are, but I think I'm going to pick them just for the idea that they're actually the gaming gladiators.
Oh, wait. Oh, dude. Do you think it is?
I don't know. I feel like that's too on the nose.
I'm going to pick the Evil Geniuses because they sound evil.
Yes.
Cool.
I'm either going to go... I'm number one pick, Gaming Gladiators, because funny. And number two pick, Evil Geniuses, because that's the team that the... woman from the last category was on, so
oh my God,
I had to round it out.
Okay. Lock in your vote. Who you picking?
Gaming Gladiators.
Okay, cool. Next category.
All right.
Best esports athlete. The esports athlete judged to be most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2023, irrespective of game. We have Faker, who plays League of Legends, Zywoo, who plays CSGO, Demon One, who plays Valorant, Hydra, who plays Call of Duty, Ruler, who plays League of Legends, and Imperial How, who plays Apex Legends.
I'm going to go with Zywoo, because it's a funny name.
You're going with Zywoo. Yes. I'm going to lock in Faker, because he's the only one that I've heard of, so he must be pretty good at his job.
His headshot's pretty good. He's got like a color palette going on.
I think he's the League player who he busted onto the scene back in the early days of League esports and won all the championships, and then he couldn't win for a long time and then suddenly came back and was good again or something like that. Back. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, best esports game. For the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform.
Now we can actually have a resemblance of a conversation.
Resemblance? Well, considering PUBG Mobile is on this list, I don't know if we're really in touch with this.
Why mobile?
Is anyone really playing PUBG regular anymore? I don't think so. I think it's basically just a mobile game now. Because Fortnite Mobile kind of sucks.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't think that they would just completely... I thought they would just put just PUBG, just like a blanket statement, but not just specifically just PUBG Mobile.
I'm surprised that Fortnite isn't on here instead of PUBG Mobile, but like I said, we're not really in touch with the scene, so,
Fortnite has transcended esports game at this point.
Yeah, I know. I feel like League usually wins this one, but I'm gonna vote Valorant, just because I played that game one time.
Right, of course.
Actually, I played it many times.
It's been out for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, it came out in 2020, I want to say.
Yeah.
And I played it for about a month, and it was a very quality video game. So I'm gonna vote Valorant. What are you gonna vote for?
I'm gonna vote Counter-Strike 2.
Okay, I see. I didn't hear anyone talk about Counter-Strike 2 except for the fact that it came out and it was called Counter-Strike 2. So that's why I didn't vote for that.
Yeah,
one.
well, I mean, I didn't even really hear anyone talk about Counter-Strike 1. Counter-Strike is like one of those things where it's like you're in it or you're not, you know? You don't hear about it.
Yeah. You see it a lot though.
Yeah,
like people,
you see it.
It comes up in conversation.
Yeah. I don't know. I like even like when I talk to people about video games, the people who I like speak to about video games don't talk about Counter-Strike. I'll be friends with somebody for years and I'll find out that they have like 4,000 hours of Counter-Strike. I'm like, what? Why didn't you mention this before? And they're like, it didn't come up.
Yeah.
Didn't come up.
It is like that, isn't
Yeah.
it?
You don't talk about how you play Counter-Strike. There's just nothing to talk about.
All right, so content creator of the year we have for a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2023.
Fuck are these people, man?
So we have Iron Mouse, who is a VTuber that I have heard of and is funny. We have People Make Games, who I'm going to come back to that one because that's the one that I think should win. I don't think that they will win. Then we have Quackity, Spreen, and Cypher PK, who I have no idea who these people are. No, Germa, we retired. He's disqualified. So Iron Mouse is just one of the bigger VTubers, and I think it's cool to see a VTuber up there. And then People Make Games it's a really cool channel that I'm surprised made it to this, where they do like mini documentaries essentially about like the ethics of the gaming industry and stuff like that, and they do a lot of good work. It's a British company, I believe, so I would, in my heart of hearts, hope that people vote for that, so that's what I'm going to lock in as my vote, but I feel like it's probably going to go to Spreen or one of these people that that we've never heard of.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just, you know what? I'll just pick that. I'll pick what you picked.
People Make Games?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just do that.
Okay, now with that out of the way, we can get into the award show proper, because I feel like all of those are probably going to be like pre-show award giveaways, or not giveaways, but like they show them on the pre-show or like announce them on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, or
I feel like
they say it in the transition to the commercial break.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of these have a good chance of making it to the actual show floor. So next up is most anticipated game.
Okay.
Recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. We have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and how cool is it that they just stopped calling it Yakuza and they call it Like a Dragon now? Star Wars Outlaws and Tekken 8. What do you think for this one, John?
I think that without a doubt it's gonna go to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I would be legitimately surprised if it did not go to Rebirth. I'm willing to put down a lot of money on that. However, there is a difference between what I think is gonna win and what I want to win. I don't know if we're gonna do that. Are we doing that here or no?
If you want to bring it up, any of the categories, if you want to say like, you know, I voted for this or I would vote for this, but I think this is gonna win, that's fine. But whatever one you lock in as your prediction for the actual win is what's gonna get you the points.
Okay, because my prediction is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. What I actually am really excited for is Infinite Wealth.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you play Yakuza 7?
No, it's on my list. I need to do my Yakuza journey. I have all the Yakuza games. I've had them for a while now, and I just haven't worked up the nerve to start like really delving into all of them. I just played Yakuza 0 and Judgment recently, which was really good. So no, I haven't. But every time I see like, it's one of those games where I feel very, very confident in that game
look good.
Yeah, game look good. Like I would be very surprised if game looked this good, and then I pick it up and I'm like, what? I feel like I'm gonna enjoy it at least a little bit.
I think the very fact that it's still turn-based, but when you play as Kiryu, you have an ultimate attack that lets you go into classic Yakuza action is already enough to sell me on the fact that it's gonna be an amazing game.
Yeah, it's just great.
But I am also going to lock in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because, I mean, let's be honest. Hades 2 is probably going to do more for the industry in terms of pushing it forward, and Like a Dragon's probably just going to be like an amazing game. Star Wars Outlaws is just going to be another Ubisoft open world game, and Tekken 8, while it's more Tekken's not like the biggest thing in the world. So.
Yeah, also I keep on seeing a lot of negative discourse surrounding Tekken 8. Don't know what it is. Yeah, don't know what it is though. I just know that I go online and people. It's like I see red words. I see Tekken 8 in like red, and I go, ooh. But yeah, you know, we can. I think we can usually count on the behavior of the gaming community, and if I know things about the gaming community, I know that they love Final Fantasy.
They love Final Fantasy 7.
Not Final Fantasy. They just really like 7.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to Rebirth as well. So we're gonna lock that in. Moving on, next category, best adaptation, which surprising they were able to fill it out. I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of adaptations this year. We have recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. We have Castlevania Nocturne, which I forgot came out, Gran Turismo, the movie, The Last of Us from HBO, Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Twisted Metal from Peacock.
Oh, and I know you love Twisted Metal from Peacock.
Dude, how the fuck did Gran Turismo and Twisted Metal both make it to the best adaptation category at the Game Awards, because they were actually not that bad?
I
thought
that
blows me away.
Didn't you say that you or was that our roommate who said that they watched like the preview for the Twisted Metal show and they thought it was like one of the worst things they've seen ever?
No, that was me.
Oh, okay.
The preview for the Twisted Metal show might be the worst glimpse into a television series I've ever seen, but whenever I read and watched reviews of it, everyone was like, dude, it's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. And then Gran Turismo, kind of the same thing.
Bad. That's what we're aiming for when we give awards out. It's not good, but it's not bad, right?
Yeah, I know. But I mean, let's be honest. Again, I don't want this to be a boring episode where me and you just vote for the same thing every time. But like, it's gonna be The Last of Us.
It's gonna be The Last
right?
of Us. Yeah, it's gonna be The Last of Us.
Last of Us is inarguably the best thing.
I've heard Castlevania Nocturne has been pretty divisive.
Yeah, there was some weird dialogue in that show that does not live up to the original series.
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't watched the original series, but Gran Turismo, I just don't know how. I really don't know of people who watched it, because it's like a biography about a player, right? Who.
Yeah.
What was it? It was from gamer to racist. It was the
racist.
Have you seen that?
Racer.
No,
Racer.
Yeah. No, I saw a fake poster. Someone tried to fucking trick me. Someone showed me a fake poster. It was from gamer to racist, and I was like,
well, those are the same thing.
And then someone said, no, racist is the proper term. That's right. And I was like, oh, okay. So for like 2 weeks, I was like, how does someone become a professional racist? That's the only thing I know about that. We saw the Super Mario Bros. Movie together in theaters.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Good.
I'm sure that Gran Turismo and Twisted Metal are fine. I'm sure Castlevania is almost as good as the original, but you can't. The Last of Us was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. So.
Yeah, it was quite good. It was more than just, oh, it's the video game I know.
Yeah. Next category.
Yeah, let's move on.
We have Best Multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design. It's weird that it specifies online, but okay. Including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences irrespective of game, genre, or platform. We have Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
I played one of these games. Guess which one?
Which Party Animals? I'm
yeah.
like, which one? But like I said, I mean, just because we didn't play them doesn't mean we don't really know what the conversation surrounding them is.
What is this what is this profile image they use?
For Party Animals.
For Party Animals, did they submit that themselves, or did
they must have? They must have, because
really
I think they have key art. They have like official art that they could have used.
Yeah, and they just picked crocodile with shades.
See, I think this category is kind of interesting because I feel like people are gonna overlook Baldur's Gate 3 and Street Fighter 6, even though they're both like multiplayer games. Like, you can play the entire campaign of Baldur's Gate 3 multiplayer, and Street Fighter 6 is a fighting game. But I think people are gonna not think of it as a multiplayer game, like both of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who do you think's gonna win this one?
I really do. I have a gut feeling that it's gonna be Diablo 4.
I was gonna say Diablo 4 as well, because as much as I like Party Animals, I don't think it has a chance. But no. I'm gonna go with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, because they messed up the multiplayer. Let's be honest. But enough people played it, and it has online baked into it, that everyone would have experienced the multiplayer in that game.
What's wrong with the multiplayer?
There's no collision like it was in New Soup.
Oh.
And whenever you play online with friends, it's like ghosts. It's not actually playing together.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, so they definitely botched the multiplayer, but because the multiplayer was on by default and way more people played Mario Wonder than Diablo 4, I'm going to go with Mario Wonder.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I actually did enjoy the multiplayer in that game. I liked, like, whenever another player was in a level and they were able to, like, show me a little secret or whatever. I actually really enjoyed that. So I'm gonna go with that.
Dark Souls. It's the shades.
No, it was actually like Dark Souls style, because there's levels in that game where it's like super secrets. Like, that's the whole level, is it's like, find these 6 secrets, and there's no way you'd be able to ever figure them out without a guide. But if you go online and you're in a lobby, there people who know what they're doing can, like, show you like hint at what you're supposed to do, and that's how I finished those levels. I thought it was really cool.
Right.
Okay, next category, best sports and racing. Which, come on, man. These are not supposed to be in the same category. Why do we do this?
Man, we don't even. You know what? There's no question about it. Crew Motorfest.
Crew Motorfest. Oh my god. For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game, we have EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, which I kind of forgot came out, even though they hyped it up for like 8 years. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, and the Crew Motorfest. I'm gonna vote for EA Sports FC, because I think the way they were able to carry their momentum forward, even though they lost the FIFA license, is pretty admirable, I guess, all things considered, for a giant megacorp. So that's what I'm gonna vote for.
The first 2 images of this are just regular people. They're just, well, not
yep,
regular
and then
people.
they're cars.
Yeah, and there's cars. Well, at least the cars are definitely unmistakably video games. I'm gonna pick Forza Motorsport, because I actually do remember hearing a ton about it.
Yeah, I remember hearing a ton about it up to release, but then once it came out, I just didn't hear anyone talk about it. So, okay, I'm locking in FC, you're locking in Forza. Next category. Best sim or slash strategy. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which came out this year. City Skylines 2, which came out this year. Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4.
I'm gonna be dead serious. This is a pretty sad category.
I mean, Pikmin 4.
Pikmin, right? Yeah, but like, I think that's like the only actual contender. I don't know what Company of Heroes is, though. That's the only problem.
That's what I was gonna say. I've heard of Company of Heroes before. You could have asked Jake, what is Company of Heroes? I could have never in a million years have told you that it was a sim or strategy game.
It just looks like war.
I feel like Advance Wars probably could have stood a chance if people actually played it, but the way the release and got delayed and everything, I just feel like it kind of floundered its release. So I don't think that has a chance. I'm voting Pikmin 4.
Yeah, I'm also gonna vote Pikmin 4, because you will not catch me. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna pick Pikmin 4. I'm gonna pick City Skylines 2. Because you always hear about, I've always heard about City Skylines 1. So 2 came out.
City Skylines 1 is an amazing game.
Yeah.
I love City Skylines. But I didn't hear anyone talk about 2.
I don't hear anyone talking about 2 either. But I'm gonna just go with that. I'm gonna go with that. Okay. That's an arbitrary choice, because you'll not be catching me dead picking Fire Emblem Engage. And also, I think Advance Wars is one of those games where people just say it's good and no one's ever actually played. Because I played some Advance Wars and I did not like it.
Fair enough.
And that is like, this is my category. Strategy, like tactical strategy games, that's my category. I didn't like it. Oh boy.
I feel like next year we're going to have some competition. There's going to be like a Front Mission First remake and Unicorn Overlord in there probably. We'll see.
I don't know what those words are.
Okay.
But I will find out.
I'm excited about them.
Okay, good.
Next category. Best family game, or just best family, which is weird.
Best family!
Best family. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, we have Disney Illusion Island, which is that Metroidvania I was telling you about a couple episodes ago, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I think this one is kind of a lock for Mario.
Me too.
But I wouldn't count out Disney Illusion Island. I'm going to vote Mario, but I feel like Disney has a good chance as well.
Yeah, this is also just like a tough category. I don't know anything about Sonic Superstars.
Oh, you should look up the final boss fight of that game. It is one of the most insane things I've ever seen, in the fact that it is just the most bullshit fight I think I've ever witnessed.
Isn't it? Aren't people not too happy about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, people... Let's put it this way. This is the family category, which means it's good to play with your family, and no one likes the multiplayer in that game.
Oh, okay. Valid. Yeah, and then we have Pikmin 4, which I would not give to my son or daughter or
they actually have
performing child.
Yeah. They have a mode in Pikmin 4 that I've heard about that I want to try out when I finally get my hands on it. That's like a 1v1 kind of situation. So I think that might be where this is coming from, because I think it like dumbs down the Pikmin formula a little bit so that it's like faster matches, and that might be good for a family.
Yeah, because Pikmin is stressful.
So stressful.
So stressful.
All right, next category.
Okay.
Best fighting. Why don't they say best fighting game? Why do they keep doing this? For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, Sifu. All right, our nominations are God of Rock, which I'd never heard of before this. I looked up. It looks pretty cool. Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6. What do you think about this one?
This is one of those categories where it's like, this is one of the sad categories where if there's, you're looking for the big ones: Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, Smash,
ArcSys stuff.
Yeah, and so we have two of those, and then we have three which are just kind of there, which I don't think have even a modicum of a chance.
I think in an alternate universe where Street Fighter 6 came out to the same reception as Street Fighter 5, and Mortal Kombat 1 was just, Mortal Kombat 1 I heard good things about, but I heard a lot of bad stuff about. So in a world where Street Fighter 6 wasn't as good as it was, I feel like Nickelodeon might have a chance.
My thing is that I have a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth with all those like Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl multiverses, because every time one of those comes out, I always hear about like being like the Smash killer, and then it's just like comes and goes, and it's like whatever. It's like it's almost like a news cycle in a way. It's like the new Smash killer, and it does not do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am gonna vote for Street Fighter 6, although I'm more of a Mortal Kombat person. I feel like I heard more positive scuttlebutt about SF6 this year.
Yes, but I'm gonna pick Mortal Kombat 1 because even though that is true, I'm seeing way more talk and hype surrounding Mortal Kombat 1. Although they're really digging themselves in a pit with this like monetization thing.
Well, so is Street Fighter.
But so is Street Fighter 2. But I know that Mortal Kombat's is notorious, like really, really bad now. Because Street Fighter, Capcom has always done that shit. But this is new for Mortal Kombat, so people are really, this is a new audience of people getting pissed off. Even so, I still think I think that will be ignored because because I don't know, Chameleon's in the game now.
Yeah, I mean, just probably way more people played Mortal Kombat than Street Fighter, so you have more people to vote and all that. So I think that's fair.
My guess is MK1.
Next category, Best RPG. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences, our nominations are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield.
Do we even have to talk about it?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we do, because I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 is, the shoe-in to win this one, but I have heard a lot about Sea of Stars that I'm like, if there was an upset, this would be the category that it would happen in, I think.
That would be the upset of the century.
I know.
No, I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine it at all. I do think Sea of Stars is, once we get to indie games. Did we do indie games already?
No, we did not.
Okay, once we get to indie games, I bet Sea of Stars is going to be that winner, like probably hands down. But Baldur's Gate, like that's all it is. Like it is just such a massive project that my body will turn inside out if Baldur's Gate 3 does not win role-playing game of the year. Because if it doesn't win role-playing game of the year, it's like what is there? What is there then?
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm going to vote Sea of Stars just to be spicy, and it's probably going to come to bite me in the ass, and that'll be the reason I lose. But
right.
I'm going to vote Sea of Stars.
It's also hilarious that Final Fantasy 16 is on that list.
The fact that Final Fantasy 16 and Starfield are both in this category is like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, come on, guys. I know that there's numbers in both of these games, but come on.
Like, Starfield is objectively an RPG. I don't know if it's best RPG. Final Fantasy 16 is not an RPG.
Final Fantasy, it's like, that's what you tell people who've only played like Call of Duty their whole life. You go like, this is an RPG. Like, that's what they think an RPG is.
Yeah.
There's just numbers on the screen now.
And like, I don't remember if there's an action RPG category, but I feel like Lies of P would fit better in that than just RPG in general. But okay, so you're locking in Baldur's Gate 3. I'm gonna lock in Sea of Stars. Which,
If
again,
I had
feel like
if we had a double down thing, that's where I would double down too.
Yeah, I know. I know that I know I'm going against the grain here, but I for some reason I have a feeling.
Okay, well, you know what? Put it ×2 next to my vote for Baldur's Gate 3. So we.
All right, I'll double up as well.
Okay.
Okay. Best action adventure game. For the best action adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, we have Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. All sequels.
Action adventure game and action game are like almost the same category. It's like, why are we separating them?
I don't know. I do agree we don't necessarily have to separate them, but I see them as different things.
Right.
Like, I would not call a Devil May Cry an action adventure, but I would not call Resident Evil an action game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this one is more action than any one.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like kind of indifferent on this one. I feel like Spider-Man's going to take it, so that's what I'm going to vote on. But I don't know.
Zelda's going to get it because that is, that is the adventure. That is the most adventurous one out of all of these games. I don't need to play. I played Resident Evil 4, and I'll tell you this. I don't think Resident Evil 4 is. I think it will walk out with probably one award at least. I don't know if it deserves any awards, to be honest with you. Despite it being just like a really good game, but I don't have to play the other three nominations for me to like know that like Zelda is like the adventure,
It is, but I feel like whenever you think of action adventure, like the combat in Zelda is not it. So that's where I'm coming
that's
from.
the only thing is because now we have to kind of figure out what the fuck the Game Awards people were intending with their words. So that's the issue that we have here.
Well, I think as we'll see later. So the way the Game Awards works is the nominations and the voting is done by a jury of 120 media outlets, and then there's like a 10% vote from the public or something like that. The Game Awards, like people, like Jeff and them, they don't really decide what the nominations are or anything, but they do determine the words that you're talking about that go like for the best combining combat and traversal with puzzle solving. But as we'll see later, I don't think those outlets really read that and really cared. I think they're more going on their gut feeling.
Yeah, I bet. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to go with my gut feeling and say Tears of the Kingdom. I do think it's
and I'm going to say Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. All right.
Next category, best action game. For the best game in the action genre, primarily focused on combat, we have Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. How the fuck did Dead Island 2 get here instead of Lies of P?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I think this category, I actually do think this category is kind of botched. Because I'm just like, what are... No, not botched. That's,
I honestly think the only one that doesn't deserve to be here is Dead Island 2. I would nominate all these other ones.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what Ghost Runner 2 is. Remnant 2,
Ooh.
I never would have thought to see on this list. Dead Island 2 also, I completely forgot that it came out. I don't know anybody who has touched Dead Island 2. Hi-Fi Rush. I know you like Hi-Fi Rush. And
I love Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
I think so. Remnant 2 is like the shooter Souls-like. I've actually heard it make quite a splash in like the indie circle of people being like, "Whoa, I didn't know," because it's not really indie, it's Gearbox, but like that kind of community. They're like, "Whoa, I didn't think it was gonna be like this." It's like good. And then Ghost Runner, I love Ghost Runner, so I can only imagine that Ghost Runner 2 kind of follows that up. But yeah, they're kind of making me choose between my babies here because we got Armored Core and Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, I would be really surprised. And here's another thing about the gaming industry that I know about. They love FromSoft. But this is a different form of FromSoft. This is FromSoft's like older brother working. Yeah. So it's like, ooh, do we like this guy as much? I don't know. It can go either way. I don't even like, should I even fucking vote for this? Because it's so arbitrary. I don't want to vote for any of these. I guess I would vote Armored Core 6 just because it's the only one I played.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it has a pretty good chance. I really do feel like it comes between Armored Core and Hi-Fi Rush, but I'm gonna vote Hi-Fi Rush just because I think in a weird way, people like try to play the game a little bit when they vote for these things, and I think this is the only category. I kind of forget what other ones it was nominated for. I know it's like some sound design stuff. I feel like this is its only category it really has a chance in, so I'm gonna vote for Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay, yeah, valid.
Next category. Best VR AR, which I'm down to skip this one if you are, because I mean we didn't like. I don't keep up with this kind of stuff. The only thing here is that Synapse. I can't believe that game actually came out and no one talked about it because it looked so cool.
What is it?
That's the roguelite VR game where you can you have telekinesis in one hand and a gun in the other hand, and you're David Hayter.
Oh, you're David Hayter. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that one. I'm gonna vote Humanity because it looks kind of funny.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about Humanity. I'm gonna put my vote into Call of the Mountain. Oh, sorry, we shouldn't. I guess read the things we're gonna vote for it. Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR, and Synapse. I'm going to vote for Call of the Mountain just because I think everyone who got the PSVR 2 played that game. Not that there was a lot of people that got the PSVR 2, but it's kind of like the game for it.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to vote for that.
Sure.
Next category. Best mobile game. For the best game playable on a mobile device, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Honkai Star Rail, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. Do you have anything to say about this category?
If Ever Crisis gets it, I would shit my fucking pants, man, because it's just
Me
Final
too.
Fantasy VII.
Oh no, it isn't.
What?
That game sucks bricks.
Wait,
that game
what?
is so bad.
It's bad? What do you mean?
I wanted to play that game so badly. I was like, this is my Final Fantasy VII. I want to play the turn-based version of FF7. I want to catch up on the story so I can know what's going on in Rebirth. I want to experience Advent Children in a new way. I want to do the new story that they have. And they just completely fucking botched its rollout in the worst way I've ever seen.
What happened?
Okay. So the whole selling point for this game is that it's a new art style, so it's a little bit chibi and then a little bit like mobile realism. And the chibi looked cute, and it had actually a new art style, like not the classic Square Enix 2D art. It was like a new artist did all the portraits for the characters, and it was a gacha game, so like whatever, but it was all cosmetic. Long story short, it was supposed to include pretty much all of the compilation of Final Fantasy VII stories, so you could fully catch up on Final Fantasy VII from just playing this, and it was all one consistent game. It ended up only doing Crisis Core, the base game, parts of Advent Children, and a small original story that they took out of the Battle Royale that got shut down.
Oh, of course.
And you can't I want to play Final Fantasy VII, then I'm going to play Crisis Core, then I'm going to play the new story, then I'm going to play Advent Children. You can play all the way up until the end of the bombing mission in Final Fantasy VII, and then you have to play the start of Crisis Core, and then you have to play the start of the Battle Royale, and then you have to play the start. It's like you can't just play them through. So you have to have played the older games so you don't get spoiled for the stuff that you're playing.
That you told me about that. You're right. You told me about that. That's really funny. That's like you get 3 games for Christmas and you have to beat every level. Like you have to beat the first level for each game individually before you can move on to the second level.
But it's like a trilogy of games, so you have no idea what's going on.
That is quite funny. In that case, oh man, that's crazy. I'm gonna say Honkai Star Rail then.
I was gonna say I'm voting Honkai Star Rail because I looked. So Terra Nil, I have heard about and I looked into. It's actually very impressive that game is on mobile. It's like a city sim kind of deal, but it's very complex to be on mobile. So I would shout that out as like I'm interested in that one. But Honkai Star Rail is actually a pretty good game. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I've heard. I heard they pulled out a lot of the stops. So I'm also gonna go Honkai Star Rail.
All right, here's the first one that's big. Best debut indie game. For the best debut game created by a new independent studio. We have Cocoon from Geometric Interactive, Dredge from Black Salt Games, Pizza Tower from Torta Pizza, Venba from Visai Games, and Viewfinder from Sad Owl Studios. Jonathan, I think I know where your heart lies, but where are you voting?
I am going to vote Pizza Tower because I don't. Here's the thing. I'm going to vote Pizza Tower in sheer just hopes that it will win, because I really do think it deserves to win. I think it deserves to be not even in debut indie game. I think it should be in just regular indie game, because I think it's that good. It is the most satisfying gaming experience I've had all year, truly. But I feel like I know in my heart that they're likely gonna give it to one of these more like artsy indie games, you know? So, I'm gonna vote Pizza Tower. Can you put a parentheses?
Okay.
And put Viewfinder in there? And I won't get any points, just bragging rights.
Okay, we'll give you a tip of the hat.
Yeah, we'll get just give me just one single clap if I get the Viewfinder.
So, I'm not going to vote for Pizza Tower because I feel like a lot of people ignored it, but I do agree that it should win. Here's why I think it should win, because I think so Venba is a cool game. It's a cool story, but I think out of what these games do, Viewfinder does something really cool, but I don't know if they stuck the landing. Cocoon does something fucking incredible, but it's not really a debut indie. Pizza Tower does a lot of really incredible stuff, and it's the first game from that studio. So that's why I think it should win, but I am going to vote for Cocoon because I think it is the best game on the list.
Okay.
But it's from directors from Playdead Studios. It's just a new studio that they're a part of.
Oh,
so I don't... That's why I'm like, but I still think it's going to win, because that game is fucking incredible.
Oh, man, yeah, if we're going to have to, kind of bend the rules for this one, we're really going to have to bend the rules for the next one, which is... Oh, yeah, you know! All right.
I know.
All
okay,
right.
Next category. Best Independent Game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. We have Cocoon again, Dave the Diver from Mint Rocket, Dredge again, Sea of Stars again, and Viewfinder again.
Right.
Now, we don't need to rehash the conversation. It's been talked to death online. Dave the Diver is not an independent game. So I think that conversation got loud enough online that I genuinely think that when people go to vote, they're not going to vote for Dave the Diver, even though I saw a lot of love for it.
How did this happen?
I just think people think it's an indie game because it's pixelated and it's a small game.
That's what I think as well, but how did the Game Awards let this slide? I think even the director of the studio said, I would not classify this as an indie game. Didn't you send a tweet? Yeah. So what the fuck is going on?
I think it's one of those situations where it's like, enough people nominated Dave the Diver that it technically won the nomination, and the people at the Game Awards were like, we've never had to deal with this before, we don't really know what we're gonna do, so let's just let it happen and blame it on the jury. And
Alright, yeah.
Either way, I do think enough people noticed that it's not an indie game after that came out that they're not going to vote for it. So I personally think it comes down to Sea of Stars or Cocoon, but I'm interested to see what you have to say first.
I don't know anything about Cocoon. I wish I could say something about it. But I do know about Sea of Stars. I do know about the hype that's surrounded it. I do think Sea of Stars is going to take it. Because I would be so shocked if Sea of Stars did not leave this awards without at least one thing, and I do think it's going to be this. And I'm just thinking right now about Gerard the Constructionist. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I do.
And especially graciously timed in with his incident.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that.
I'm like, again, I'm conflicted because I do think, like, based on the way people have talked about Sea of Stars is the way I felt playing Cocoon, but Sea of Stars is a really long game with a lot of content, so I think I'm going to vote with you along with Sea of Stars, but my personal pick would be Cocoon.
Okay, that's fine.
Next category. We have Best Community Support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates / patches. We have Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky.
Final Fantasy 14 and No Man's Sky are always on this list.
They are.
And Destiny 2 is on here a lot as well.
I feel like this is the first year that these have been nominated, and I'm like, did they really do that much?
Yeah, it's like, is it just the safety pick? They're just like, I don't know, put that there.
Yeah, especially Destiny 2, because people are not happy with Destiny right now, so I don't know.
I have never seen anybody happy with Destiny at any point in
time.
Well,
okay, fair, but like, more people are upset with Destiny. The other people who are normally happy with Destiny just keep their mouth shut.
Right, yeah. It's like, Destiny is one of those games where it's just perpetual, like a storm cloud over the game at all times. It's like with the Badlands. It's like, what's going on over there?
I'm gonna put Baldur's Gate 3 as my vote for this one, and it is 100% only because of the bear sex thing. Because
what?
Listen, it's encompassing like updates and community support and social media. The Baldur's Gate 3 social media channel is actually very active and very responsive and makes funny jokes. And like in their patch notes, they always like have little photoshops that they add that are like cute. But I think that social media team over there, they really started off their campaign with like the "you can have sex with a druid bear" thing, and they just kept it rolling after that. So that's why I'm going to vote for that one.
I think Cyberpunk is going to take it because it really is a fantastic PR job is what happened this year with Cyberpunk. A lukewarm reception I feel like Cyberpunk had due to its launch, and people saying like, no, it is a really, really good game under the surface, and then there's people saying no, it is just shallow to the core. But this, I've only seen positive things about it ever since it came out, and I don't know how you take a game that had such a limp launch years ago. From like years ago. How old's the game? 2 years old or something like that?
Came out in 2020. So
yeah,
3 years.
3 years old. Take this game that came out 3 years ago and pump new life into it, and then make it almost more popular now than it was 3 years ago. That's impressive. I think it's going to go to Cyberpunk 2077.
I agree with everything you said, but
no bear sex.
Moving to no bear sex, but moving to the next category, best ongoing game, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. No. See, that's why I was like, I agree with what you're saying, because it was a very good PR job, but the best community support is all about responsiveness to community requests and needs, whereas best ongoing is literally about new content being presented to the game. So
big
this
asterisk fine print that I didn't read.
The nominations are Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. Honestly, I feel like Genshin Impact probably has the best chance out of all of them, but for this one, I am going to vote for Cyberpunk 2077, pretty much for everything you already said.
Man.
Because I feel like you're not wrong for like the reason that they made all those changes and had so many updates and did all those Night City wires and like had all those things for best community support is because they were supporting their community. I just think that their social media presence wasn't as strong, but for this one, I do think that what you're saying about how they brought the game around to be fantastic now, that's why I'm getting into this one.
I should just play it smart and pick Cyberpunk 2077. Okay. But I'm not. I'm going to pick Fortnite. Because
that's fair.
I think Fortnite it's becoming more than Fortnite. We're seeing it happen.
It is. There's 3 new games coming out inside of Fortnite this week.
It's becoming Roblox. It's not, Fortnite for years, almost like a decade at this point. Fortnite's not that old. But for a long time, Fortnite has just mainly been Battle Royale in different flavors in different events, right? Now we are seeing the launch of this is like what happened when the MCU was launched, officially.
Yeah.
With the multiverse and shit like that. Now we're seeing this is the scale that they're going at. This is going to become less of a single game and becoming a platform of games, like something like Roblox or some shit like that. And also, they just added Peter Griffin. So
True.
I will pick Fortnite, although put an asterisk. And put Cyberpunk 2077 there for me, just so I can punch myself for not picking it, because I do think that this is a risky choice. I think it's a risky choice, and I shouldn't do it.
No, I think we want to know why I think that Fortnite has a good chance that I didn't think about until just now.
Why?
So the votes for this are probably already submitted from the outlets. I don't know what the deadline is, but the outlets were probably voting when Fortnite OG was still live, and that was like a huge thing for Fortnite. So I do think that has a pretty good chance.
Okay.
Next category. I think we're getting towards the end here.
We are. Because
Games
now
for
we're getting
impact.
the esoteric ones that I'm like, I don't know what this means.
Games for impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sinar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, and Venba. Now, I don't know if you have anything to touch on for this one, but I actually do. I'm familiar with a decent number of these games. So I'm going to say that I am going to vote for Venba. Are you familiar with Venba at all?
No, I do not.
So it's a very short little indie where you cook food, and it's basically like a story of a immigrant family moving to a different country and raising a child, and then it's like dealing with how that child fits into their culture from their ancestry as well as to their new country, and how those two things clash, and how food is a good connection to culture and everything. And while obviously, Chia and Terra Nil are about the environment, same, I guess, Goodbye Volcano High kind of, Chance of Sinar and all of these are like political issues and stuff, I think that's the one that's going to resonate most deeply with people, so I'm voting Venba.
Dude, I don't know any of these games, so I really, the vote is kind of meaningless. I think I might vote Goodbye Volcano High, because I'm honestly proud of it.
For coming out?
For coming, and not only coming out, but for getting on the list in any capacity. Because I remember when this was announced. I don't remember who I was watching it with, but I remember when this was announced, me and all the people we were watching, we were like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Just completely judging it by the face value, scaly furry dinosaur things that they were going on. We were what is going on? We just thought it was so funny, and now it's on this list. So that means it came out and it wasn't nonsense. It's the only one I know, so I'm gonna pick it.
Okay. The thing with that game is that it was announced at the PS5 reveal. And
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It was, and I went, what the fuck is going on?
It got delayed so many times, and then it just came out with no reviews, no PR, no advertisements. It's like they just forgot about it. I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's really funny.
Literally no reviews. They didn't send out review codes, so people didn't review this game. I think it came out the same week as Starfield or something.
You know what? That is the sign of a good game. When
there's
no press and the developer doesn't want reviews, that's a good game. This is a thrown away vote. You might as well not even put anything down.
Yep. Next category, innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Categories are Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. This one I'm actually okay with skipping, because I feel like it would be wrong for me personally to predict one of these things when I don't know very much about it.
Yeah, I don't know much about any of these either. I was gonna joke and just say Forza Motorsport, because that sounds like the type of game that they would put a shit ton of accessibility options, like Last of Us 2 style.
And they do.
Yeah. And just because it's just we want people to drive our goddamn cars. But I'm actually gonna pick Street Fighter 6, because I do know that they're probably referring to the modern control scheme.
Modern controls.
So I will pick Street Fighter 6, because that shook the fuck up the Street Fighter community, and I think it did wonders for it, as well as cause an entire I don't know how to word this. I think it created its own organism of segregation, because there's people who are modern control, it is people arguing it's a real social issue in real life, the inclusion of modern control schemes and the impacts of the Street Fighter community is how much shit I've seen about it. So I'm gonna pick that.
Okay, if we're actually doing picks for this, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with Marvel Spider-Man 2 only because I know that it's a PlayStation game, and I wanna acknowledge PlayStation and the great work they've done in accessibility the last couple of years, and like adding so many options to their games to make them playable on all different kinds of controllers for all people with different kinds of eyesight and hearing problems. So definitely shout out to PlayStation. But whenever you start up Forza Motorsport, if you don't turn off the accessibility settings fast enough, within 10 seconds, someone just starts reading all of the words on screen.
That's awesome. That's great.
So yeah, I'm gonna vote for Spider-Man 2, I suppose, just to shout out PlayStation.
Word. Okay.
Next category, Best Performance, awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture. We have Ben Starr, who plays Clive in Final Fantasy XVI, Cameron Monaghan, who plays Cal Kestis in Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba, who plays himself in Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty.
He plays himself?
That's not
Excuse
true.
me?
It's not true. I just don't know the character's name, and I stole that joke from another podcast. Melanie Libbard, who I assume plays Saga in Alan Wake 2, but I'm not entirely sure. They don't list the actual character names here.
Yeah.
Neil Newborn, who plays Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3, and Yuri Lowenthal for Spider-Man in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. If Ben Starr doesn't win this one, we're all fucked. That is crazy.
I do think Ben Starr is gonna win this one because I know a lot of people were jerking their wieners to his performance, so I think it's gonna. I think it'll win.
Like I think all of these are shoo-in to win any other year, but I literally have never seen a main character better voiced than Clive in Final Fantasy 16. And say what you will about the story, I'm just talking about the performance was incredible.
I don't know. I heard you said that any of these would be a shoo-in for any other year. I heard some of the Bully Maguire lines, the Bully Parker lines in Spider-Man 2, and I was like, ooh.
You're right. But I think it's just overall his Spider-Man performance is good. Like that. Yeah. Whenever I see Spider-Man now, I do think of Yuri Lowenthal's voice, which is kind of scary. That
is really interesting. And you know what? And I'll allow it. I always joke about the voice actors that are used for everything, but I do like his performance in the first Spider-Man, so it's not that crazy.
Yep. Okay, moving on. Getting towards the end here with Best Audio Design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. We have Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4. You want to take this one?
There's an outlier here, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think Hi-Fi Rush should probably win this one, considering it is a audio-based game. I did play Resident Evil 4, and I cannot say that the audio design was outstanding compared to, like, it wasn't like, I wasn't sitting there going like, wow, this is great. Like Last of Us 2, like level audio, you know, because it's very important to the gameplay and stuff like that. It was just good audio. Don't know anything about the other three games. Maybe Dead Space did something. Maybe Alan Wake 2 did something. Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm game, and it's all about the music. It'd be a little sad if it didn't win.
That is true, and I would like it to win. That would be my pick, but if you haven't watched gameplay of Alan Wake 2 with headphones on yet, that's going to win, and that's what I'm voting for.
Well,
like, that is crazy.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything with it, so...
Okay, so you're locking in Hi-Fi Rush. I'm going to vote for Alan Wake 2. Moving on. Best Score and Music for Outstanding Music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. We have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
This is the category that this is probably my least favorite category, because I don't understand orchestrated music. Like
what?
I know I understand orchestrated music, like, you know, I don't understand when people are like, the movie soundtrack was so good, and I'm just, because I kind of like,
that's my favorite part.
Is it?
Yeah, I love score and soundtrack so much. Like, I pay attention to it so heavily.
Oh, I don't. It all kind of just blends together for me, unless it does something like pretty particular because I really like melodies, and you know what I mean, like Final Fantasy 16, big orchestrated soundtrack. I'm sure it exemplifies every single moment that's happening on screen with like 4,000 people playing instruments in a live like recorded as if it was live, right? All well and good. Pizza Tower will stick with me probably for the rest of my life because of how funky it is and the melodies and the samples and shit like that. That is something that I can really snap my fucking fingers to, you know? That's what I look for in music and video games, is something that I can play and listen to and kind of like, you know, do a little booty dance.
Yeah. I think the only one on here that would really lean into that is Hi-Fi Rush. And I from my money, like the original soundtrack in that game is serviceable at best. It really shines when it's licensed music, and I'm not going to vote for a game because it has licensed music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my bet on just gut instinct was probably be Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, that's what I'm voting for as well. There's so many great tracks in that game that are just some of the most incredible orchestrated tracks that I've ever heard. So I'm going to vote for that. Although I would shout out, you know, that last like 2 hours of Tears of the Kingdom, that soundtrack goes so fucking hard.
Oh yeah, it does go very, very hard.
So we're going to both vote for Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
And then we'll move on to Best Art Direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. We have Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I actually do think it's a little bit of a crime that Armored Core isn't on here. I do think that Armored Core has a fantastic visual design. And you know what? Well, nah, because it never would have made it to begin with. But I do think Pizza Tower, of course, is just fantastic looking game.
I would say that the only one here that I would swap out for Armored Core is Tears of the Kingdom, Mario, sorry. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, because Mario's Wonder is an excellent looking game, but it's not that much different from what we saw before from Mario. And then Pizza Tower, you're right, but I just don't think pixel art is ever going to get its due outside of maybe like a Celeste or something.
And not something like, you know, that type of style.
Yeah, and like when I first saw this, I was like, really? We're nominating Tears of the Kingdom? It's like exactly the same as Breath of the Wild, but you think they did the depths and they did the Sky Islands and they did all that work with redesigning all the enemies and everything, so I think it deserves its spot.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to win though? I don't.
Nah. I do think Alan Wake 2. This is Alan Wake 2's category to lose because they do so much crazy shit in that game. That's like, so I've never seen anything like that before, including the use of like live action blended with gameplay. If they don't win this one, someone fucked up.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, and they do that in the first game too. So you know what? Yeah, that is a good point. I think we'll also pick Alan Wake 2.
Okay, next category, Best Narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Our nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, the DLC specifically, which is kind of weird. I guess it makes sense because it came out this year. Final Fantasy 16 and Marvel Spider-Man 2. The only one I played here is Final Fantasy 16, and the story was dog shit. No, it wasn't dog shit. It just fell flat. So I don't really know what I don't have a horse in this race. I think I'm just gonna pick Alan Wake 2 again because I hear a lot of people talk about how it's really cool.
I'm gonna pick Baldur's Gate 3 is what I will do.
Yeah, I have heard a lot of good things about the story in that, but the thing that the reservation I have is that like the game can go so many different ways, right? Are all of the branching paths really that good? I mean, apparently they are, but I just need to play it for myself.
Yeah. Well, we can agree on one thing. It's not going to be Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I would shit my pants if a fucking superhero thing won Best Narrative.
I don't know. I don't know what happened in Spider-Man 2 because I've been trying not to get spoiled, but the narrative in Spider-Man 1 is actually pretty compelling. I mean,
yeah. No, I don't deny that. But is it Game of the Year awards worthy?
Maybe.
Know?
I don't know.
I don't
know. I feel like if it was going to win anywhere, like if a Spider-Man's story was going to win an award. I think it's more likely in video games than movies, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Next category, the one you've been looking forward to, Best Game Direction.
Hey.
Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. We have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And what's your beef with this category?
Because I just don't know. I don't get it. I get it. Like, I do get it on a... Like, I know what it's saying, but I just can't pick an answer.
The way I think of Best Direction is like the game that pushed the medium so far in a direction it never has been before. Someone who did something new is kind of how I think of it. Because game of the year doesn't necessarily have to be something new, but it usually is. This one is like, which one did something that's never been done before or something like that.
Okay. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a very strong contender for this one, because, you know, Baldur's Gate 2 and 1, people, you know, no one was talking about those. Baldur's Gate 3, something came out of nowhere and just absolutely blew the fuck up the scene. And I remember there was people, and there still is people, talking about it being like, I can't believe this is what video games can be. This is what a game company can make without expecting more from their players, like without microtransactions or a battle pass or like online things. It's just, here's the game. It's an amazing game. That's it. And that is such an insane concept to so many people that it took up a lot of my online space for a long time, for it just being just a fantastic game with no strings attached. And I remember there was that news article about, I don't remember who it was, but there was some like company who said that Baldur's Gate 3 is a threat to the gaming industry because it sets like a tough standard for other companies to follow. Oh yeah, I saw that. Or some shit. And it's like, wow,
what a weird take. Yeah, I think you're right on all that, and are you locking that in?
I am locking that in. And from all the videos I've seen, it is nuts.
I've seen the stuff where it's like shoot the barrel so it falls, and then climb on the barrel, and then stack your inventory on top of you so that you weigh 1,000 pounds and then fall through the floor and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's definitely directed. Mm-hmm. They directed the shit out of that game. Me think.
And Alan Wake 2, just to say that real fast, because I feel like you're going to mention Alan Wake 2. The thing is, like, I know Alan Wake 2 is probably really fantastic in some way, but from what I've seen and how I've seen people talk about it, it is still, like, gameplay-wise, disregarding all, like, the mind-bending, like, horror stuff, it's still just kind of just shooty game. So it's like, you know, and that's, I think, is the only real big contender against Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, you're right. And I am between Alan Wake and Baldur's Gate 3. The problem I run into here is that there is a part of Alan Wake 2 that I've been not spoiled because I like went out of my way to look it up, that is just so impressive to me that I'm like, the director Sam Lake, the person whose vision, you know, kind of guided that game, I'm like, he knew what he was doing with this one and he went off, and that's why I'm thinking about that. But I am going to pick Baldur's Gate 3 as well. I'm going to vote for that because I think a lot of people kind of subconsciously think of Best Game Direction as like second place award for Game of the Year, and I think that Baldur's Gate 3 is not going to win Game of the Year. I think it's going to win this one.
Okay.
So yeah, both voting Baldur's Gate 3, and then I believe, yes, finally, the big one, the Game of the Year, which I'm down to make for double points as well. We have recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. We have an extra nomination for this one. We have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, surprise pick, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think there's ever been a doubt in my mind that it's Tears of the Kingdom, and that's where I'm going to stick.
Yeah. I think it might be time for an upset, though. I think
You
this
think
might
it's
be
Baldur's Gate?
It's a tough one, you know? It is a really tough one. I'm going back and forth because the thing is, Zelda, it seems so obvious. It's one of those things where it's like, it feels almost too obvious. Like, it can't be that easy that they're going to pick Zelda, right? But it very well might just be that easy. And it is a great game. It's a fantastic game. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It blew Breath of the Wild completely out of the water for me, right?
Yeah.
But Baldur's Gate did something really special this year, I think, in terms of like impact and like the ripple effect that it had on so many things. But Tears of the Kingdom kind of just came out, and it was just like kind of contained in itself. It did not shake the market all over again like it did.
I think it did.
You think so?
I
don't
think it did. Yeah.
I
I think it did because it showed people that sequels to games that are based in like a franchise do not have to abide by any specific rules, and that the sandbox concept of open world games was blown wide open. I guarantee you in like 3 or 4 years, every single open world game ever is going to have crafting mechanics with like building ships and like building houses and managing your inventory and combining stuff in the way that Zelda does now.
Maybe. Oh man, I do think I'm gonna have to go, if not just for intrigue, because you're already picking Tears of the Kingdom, then for what I've said already, I'm gonna have to go with Baldur's Gate 3.
Spicy pick.
And but I will, you know, I will be the first one to admit that this is not the smartest choice. But I feel like if this might be one of those things that, like, it could be possible, and it could be one of those things where it gets voted Game of the Year, and everyone either loses their shit, or everyone just kind of goes, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, I think it's fair that we double down the RPG category where you pick Baldur's Gate, and now we're doubling down Game of the Year where you pick Baldur's Gate, and one of us is going to be wrong.
One of us is going to be wrong. Both of us could be wrong, I bet.
Both of us could be right as well.
Both of us could be right as well.
Here's my thinking, is that Breath of the Wild was Game of the Year 2017, and Tears of the Kingdom is so much better than Breath of the Wild.
It
you know
is.
What I mean?
It really is. It really is. But what were the nominations for 2017?
Let's see. Let's look it up. I think it's on the Game Awards website. Game Awards 2017 nominees.
See, and here's another thing. It's really tough. It's really tough to do this without playing all these games and, you know, not being a person in the industry who's paid to do this and this is their career. Because I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. You haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 either. This might be like, you know, we might, let's put a hypothetical situation here. We might be missing out on the game that's gonna blow our fucking brains out the front of our face, you know? And
that is true.
Yeah, we won't know that until we play it. So who knows what, like, a hypothetical scenario, what if Baldur's Gate 3 wins? And we're like, wow, I can't believe that won. And then like 3 months after the Game Awards, we finally sit down and play Baldur's Gate 3, and then we're like, oh, fucking of course. Like, we don't know. We don't know ourselves.
I will be playing Baldur's Gate 3 in 2 weeks. That's when I'm starting my campaign in Baldur's Gate 3, which I know is after the Game Awards. Whether it wins or not, I'm still starting it because I need to know. Because as you say, it could be the game that blows our brains out of our fucking face. I have seen so many people talk about this game blowing their brain out of their fucking face.
Yeah, you know we have to check it out. I can't sit idly by any longer, but I just can't do it in time.
So the nominees in 2017 were The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, PUBG, and Super Mario Odyssey. So maybe not as stiff competition as this year.
That's actually kind of surprising that Persona 5 was the same year as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, right?
Because Persona 5 is one of the most successful video games I've ever seen in my life.
So is Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey too. I do love me some Mario Odyssey. But
man. Like compare the quality of those nominees to this year. I don't think you can go wrong playing any of these games. Granted, obviously, we mentioned, haven't played all of them, but I'm like, when I see the trailers for all of these games, even Resident Evil 4, which I don't necessarily know if it deserved a nomination or not, I have a physical copy of that game because I want to play it so fucking bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
So overall, I think it's a very, very good year for games.
It is a pretty good year for games. I feel like this is the only year... that's not true. I was gonna say this is the only year I don't see the same games just like pasted fucking everywhere, which is not true because I've seen Marvel Spider-Man and Alan Wake 2 for almost every single category.
And Baldur's Gate.
I actually think, yeah, Baldur's Gate is also everywhere, but it's somehow less than Alan Wake 2. I think Alan Wake 2 is the most nominated game.
I think it's recency bias, right?
Maybe.
Like okay,
if that was true,
Zelda,
then why the fuck isn't Mario Wonder everywhere? You know.
2D Mario game's not gonna fucking win a bunch of game awards. You know the people that vote on this. If Zelda came out in October, it would be nominated for every single category in this entire show.
You're right.
But yeah, so Game Awards, very exciting. We've been going quite a bit longer on this than I thought either of us thought we would. So let's just do a very quick rapid fire prediction of what we think is going to be announced. Give me one thing that you want to be there and one thing that you think will be there.
Oh, dude. You go first.
Okay. Let me see. I think, there's a lot of things we know are going to be there, like the follow-up game to the people who made Inscription is going to be there. There's talks of games from Xbox being there and things like that. I think the most likely game to show up is probably Hellblade, because Hellblade 2 was announced at the Game Awards, and then the only other trailer we got for Hellblade 2 was at another Game Awards, and that game has got to be coming out in 2024. So I think we're probably going to see a release date trailer for Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
Does that interest you at all? Did you play the first one?
No, I thought it was one of those walking simulator games, so I never played it.
I started it, I kind of fell off, but it seems very interesting to me, especially with all the voices and stuff, so I'd be very interested to check out the second one. Let me think. What would I want to be there? Okay. I'm going to cheat and do two little ones. I think it's time for us to finally see something about this goddamn Elden Ring DLC. And I think this would be the place to do it. Jeff Keighley and FromSoft have a very good working relationship for bringing announcements to his shows, and I believe he just visited their studio a couple weeks ago, so I think it might be likely, but I really would like to see it. And then the other one I would like to see is a game that was announced, I think, at the Game Awards last year, which is Earthblade, which is the follow-up game from the people who made Celeste. So I would love to see more about that.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay. Man, it's always tough to think about these types of things for me.
Yeah. We're also in a place where we know about a lot of games that are coming out, but we don't necessarily know the date or a lot of specifics about the gameplay. But normally at a time like this, we would have a bunch of leaks and rumors and discussions about what we think is going to be announced that we don't know about. And I feel like we don't have a lot of that going on right now.
We don't. I mean, especially considering that, GTA 6 trailer just came out like 2 days ago. And that is
so hot.
That's probably the most anticipated game. Possibly of the decade
ever
of ever, maybe until they announce the sequel to Tetris, which is I think is going to make ripples in the game space. But it's like I don't know, a lot of like conversation around like, I hope we're going to see this at the Game Awards. So it's tough to think about it. And like I just said, it's tough as well, considering the most hyped and wanted game ever being announced not days before, but like a couple weeks before it. It's like,
Oh no, it's days. This Game Awards is on Thursday.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's funny. Oh fuck. I should watch that. I guess I think I'm free that day. Because usually I watch the last couple times I watched the Game Awards, I was like, we would get to like the reveals or whatever, I'd be like, oh my god, come on, speed of the fuck up. It's just like, what do you do when the load of the year was already blown? Like how do we follow up Grand Theft Auto 6 dropping randomly? The only thing I can imagine that everyone would like poop their pants over would be Elder Scrolls 6, which I don't think is going to hit the Game Awards.
No way.
No fucking way is that going to happen. That would be crazy. But I don't really want it either. I think I want Bethesda to cook. I think they need to think about Starfield, and I think they need to reflect on Starfield for a decent while before they do anything else. I think that's what Bethesda needs to do for right now. That team that's in charge of all their RPG games.
On that note, though, I do think we could see Avowed, which is Obsidian's take on medieval fantasy.
Yeah, Obsidian. I could see Obsidian. Did Obsidian publish Outer Worlds or no?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of whether it was Outer Worlds or Outer Wilds because I always get them mixed up. But yeah, they did.
I don't know. See, with that information, I'm kind of a little like wary on Obsidian too, because you know me, I did not like Outer Worlds that much.
I know, and I think Avowed would pretty much just be the it's the Elder Scrolls from the people who made Outer Worlds. So,
yeah, so that I would be really wary for that. But okay, let me stop beating around the bush. What I think might show up at the Game Awards. I don't think this is likely, but I think it could happen. I think it's due. Capcom needs to start talking about the new Monster Hunter game.
Yes, they do. It was on my list as well.
I do think that I think there's a slight chance that it will show up because Monster Hunter is slowly becoming a almost yearly series at this point. It's just they pump these guys out now. I never would have thought I would have seen the day.
Capcom has been talking about how the first half of 2024 is going to have their biggest game ever that's going to make them the most money they've ever made. And if that's not Monster Hunter World 2, I don't know what it is.
Oh, they must be talking about Dragon's Dogma 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 does look pretty crazy. I did play a lot of Dragon's Dogma 1. Yeah, but you know how I felt about Rise? And I'm a little concerned because I don't think Rise is a fine game. I don't think it's the right direction. I think it was a good experiment. I don't think it's the right direction for the game that's going to make them $1 billion, right? So I think I'm a little hesitant. I also don't even want to say this because I don't even want to see it because I want more time. I love it when developers take the time to cook their goddamn games. But yeah, that might be it for what we see. What do I want to see though? What do I want to see out of anything? I want to see Red Dead Redemption 2 next gen upgrade to play at 60 frames per second. I cannot believe that game is stuck at 30 frames per second, even though I have a Series X that I paid $500 for. And there's no upgrade, and there's no...
Didn't they just do that?
What?
Didn't they just put it out?
Oh, you're joking.
Wasn't that a big thing? Like they released it and then it wasn't 60 FPS and everyone freaked out, and then 3 days later they pulled a Nintendo and they were like, hee, here it is.
I don't think so. I just played it like the other day.
Oh, that was the not remake of Red Dead 1 that they put out on modern consoles.
We'll talk about this later because I think I had to do research on this because I'm getting semi-answers. They might have just dropped that Red Dead Redemption 2 60 FPS update a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know. So let's just not get into it. But I don't know if I should pick something else then, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, go for it. Pick something else.
I don't have anything else.
Okay.
I'm pretty satisfied with my gaming.
Here, I got one for you. You want to see more of MGS3 remake?
Yeah, sure.
I think we could see that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm like, this is one of the first times in my life where I'm just like, I'm pleased. I'm pleased with the state of video games. I don't need to have a ton of shit come out right now. I'm pretty happy. I still need to get through a lot of the things that came out this year.
We still gotta play Baldur's Gate 3.
We still gotta play Baldur's Gate 3. So if they announce too many good things at this Game Awards, it's gonna, you know what's gonna happen? The meter's gonna tip over. I'm gonna go from excited, to stressed. I'm gonna go from excited to stressed. 'Cause I'm gonna be like, oh my fucking god, I gotta get all these games because they look so good. But yeah.
Well, let's hope that they surprise us with a few cool bangers and maybe not too much. But yeah, we will see you. For you, it'll be like 10 seconds, and for us it'll be like 3 days. We'll see you soon.
I wonder if the energy is going to be completely different because this has been about an hour and a half of kind of like almost chaotic conversation, fast-paced chaotic conversation for an hour and a half. I wonder if there's going to be such a big juxtaposition as soon as we're like, all right, now we're going to make the cut after the Game Awards, and we're just going to be like, I can't believe
I just watched 3 hours of commercials.
I can't believe that they're making No Man's Sky 2.
They're remaking The Last of Us again.
They're remastering. I don't fucking know. What would be something really funny? Dr. Mario.
They're remastering Demon Souls remake.
Oh. All
right. So yeah, we will see you in like 1 second. Bye.
Bye.
And we're back.
Whoa.
It's now December 8th, the morning after the Game Awards. And I don't know about you, Jonathan, but I was up late watching that thing, and now I am sleepy.
No, I watched it live. And we should have had our roles reversed, because I haven't watched the Game Awards live in a very long time, and you are the proponent of watching the Game Awards live. I know you said it was very special to you, so we should have been reversed, but we weren't.
It's true. It's not, I wouldn't say it's very special to me, but I have watched it live every year for like probably since it moved off of Spike TV. And it's become a thing where I'm just kind of like put it on the side and do whatever else I'm doing. I'm never just like sitting down, popcorn in hand. That's the only thing I'm watching for the night.
It's just a tradition,
I don't think I can handle
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
But yeah, I wasn't able to watch it live, so I was up late last night watching it. I actually fell asleep halfway through it, so that kind of shows the intrigue level. So I had to rewatch parts of it this morning, but my phone also died, so I didn't wake up on time, so I had to speed through it to get ready for this podcast. But I have watched all of it. I've absorbed the announcements, the award wins. I have things to say. I have notes written down. But I want to start with you, Jonathan. You watched it right then and there. You saw everything that was coming out. Nothing got spoiled for you. You saw all the awards. We saw our predictions come true or not come true. Give me top-level thoughts as to what you thought, and then after that, we'll move into seeing who won our little predictions game.
You know, I watched it. This is the first time I watched it live in a long time, and I used to hate watching these presentations. The Game Awards is kind of like a presentation. I mean, it is a presentation for the awards, but it's also a presentation like a Nintendo Direct is a presentation because we get these new reveals for gaming. And, you know, for years, I just didn't enjoy gaming presentations at all. For some reason, for reasons that I honestly don't even remember anymore. Because I've watched a couple of presentations here and there, and now I'm quite enjoying them. I'm enjoying them quite more, and it goes the same with the Game Awards. I was just watching it, and I was just like, all right, this is fine. This is a good old time, and that was kind of it. Like, I wasn't, and it's weird because years prior, maybe if I was a teenager again, and I was watching this for 16, 17, 18 with my friends, I probably would have left it thinking, this fucking sucked. I hate this one. They didn't do this or that. But now, I don't know what changed, but now I'm just kind of watching it and I'm going, all right. This is good. I'm fine with this. I'm content, even though not much of interest happened for me personally. I didn't care.
That is kind of where I fall as well on specifically the Game Awards and the Keighley events, so like Summer Game Fest and all that. Because like for a Nintendo Direct, you kind of know what you're getting going into it.
Right.
And if you end up hating it, it's kind of on them. Like, it isn't, but they have enough stuff in the chamber that every Nintendo Direct could be a banger, and they just save it and pace it differently. Whereas the Keighley events, where it's not a specific company, it's not a specific studio, it's the entire gaming industry combined, you really never know what you're going to get. I kind of like to just go in with an open mind and be like, man, they're going to show me some fucking RTSs and 4X strategy games that I'm never going to play, but I know people out there are really into that, and good for them. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, like, I feel like this might have been a clunker to a lot of people, because even I was sitting there and thinking, like, I finished it and I was like, I don't really, like, there wasn't a lot of hype moments for me. They were all kind of put in, like, in the beginning, and when I say hype moments, I mean me going, oh, wow, they're doing that? Wow, that's cool. Not like me getting up and going like, oh, whoa. I think I did it with one thing that I don't remember. Probably the SEGA commercial,
dude.
When the guy at the end looks into the camera and he goes, SEGA!
SEGA!
I screamed. I thought that was so funny. But yeah, there wasn't really a lot of like get up out of your chair moments in this one. And I don't really remember if there was a lot in times past. I think there probably was, but I'm just trying to think of it right now. I don't know. Thinking about
I think
yeah.
I think most of the shows, the Game Awards shows, have probably like 3 to maybe 4 moments that are supposed to be like the big pops, and you can tell that they know, so they plan around it. I'd say for this one, probably the Kojima announcement was one of those. Monster Hunter Wilds was another one. Sega, obviously, and then I guess probably the Hellblade stuff because they made such a big deal out of it. But other than that, everything else is exciting, but I don't know if it was the most exciting in the world.
Yeah, and that is fine. It doesn't have to be, And
absolutely.
That's the stance I've taken at this point, and I feel like an adult now. I feel like a mature.
Glad you finally came around on them.
Yeah. Well, you know what it really is? I really think that I just have to not watch these with people anymore. Because
yeah, everyone's always talking over it and complaining about everything the entire time.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what it is? It's when you watch it with people, it is not even like, oh, everyone's ruining it. It's just like when you're with people, I feel like regardless on how you feel about it, the hype level in the room is gonna be a bit higher than if you're just watching it by yourself in a dark room. So your expectations rise subconsciously, and something that is like very par for the course can now become doo-doo diarrhea because you and all your friends got together and you're gonna watch the Game Awards and you're gonna make it a big thing, and then it's just the Game Awards. And,
yep. And then all of you have different expectations for what you would want to see most, and you all talk about it beforehand. So then whenever only 1 or 2 of those things in that pool of 20 things come true, you're all like, man, they didn't show a lot.
Yeah, man. So you get shit like that. Although me and you watched the Game Awards last year, and I remember it being, maybe you didn't have a pleasant experience because you were next to me the whole time, but I remember having a pretty pleasant experience.
I had a pleasant experience, but I will say last year's Game Awards was notably kind of suckish.
Really?
Last year specifically, I highlight as one of the worst ones they've done.
I remember. I do
pacing.
remember you saying that. The only thing I really remember is me screaming at Death Stranding 2. Because I saw Norman Reedus, and I was like, Norman Reedus! and everyone in the room like looked at me like I was an insane person, because it was not funny to anybody else. So I was like, all right. And
Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus.
Yeah, Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus. And my very real reaction to MGS3 Delta. That was
the PlayStation thing.
Oh, you're right. Well, that's kind of unfortunate that the hypest moment I can think of was from a different presentation. Sorry.
Which a bad presentation, mind you. That Metal Gear Solid was the only good thing in that one.
Oh yeah, you didn't like that one either. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like you. I kind of don't. I take it on the chin. I don't try to think about it too much. I just watch. They're just commercials at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it's like watching trailers before a movie. You're allowed to be excited about them, but like, really, what are you excited about?
Yeah.
Stuff that isn't out yet. But let's talk about this year specifically.
Yes.
So there was a lot that I actually do want to talk about announcement-wise, but people who've listened this far into the show have listened to us do almost an hour and a half of awards talk, which I think is more than ever. I'm realizing that the awards should be more important, but they're not at the show, and we'll talk about that later. But first, let's get into our little prediction thing. Were you keeping track of like what you had predicted? Did you write anything down or whatever?
You had the file with all of our guesses. I should have asked you to send it to me, but I knew you were busy, and also I kind of remembered like most of my predictions, at least for like the bigger categories, best blank game a year and stuff like that. The esports one, I don't really remember that much. But yeah, I do remember most of my guesses. You're going to have to just refresh me, but yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't think we should really go category by category, but let me just say, we'll do the score first, and then we'll talk about some notable
Oh, you tallied it up
splits.
already?
I tallied it up already,
All right.
yes. So I'm going to give you the score, I'm going to show you who won, and then we'll go through where I think our decisions led us to victory or failure.
Okay.
So, drum roll, please. The winner of our Softlock predictions episode for the Game Awards is Jonathan.
Oh.
By 1 point.
Are you serious?
1 point. And
wow.
I will tell you, the thing that put you over the edge for the entire thing was your unwavering dedication to believing that Baldur's Gate blows people's brains out of their fucking face.
I did. I had a very good feeling about it.
Because we differed on both Game of the Year and Best RPG, both of which we doubled down on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what sent you all the way up to winning our little game. Some other notable things. First off, we got a lot of the esports categories wrong.
Well, yeah,
to no one's surprise.
Big shock.
So, but I will note, it is the Game and Gladiators.
It is the Game and Gladiators.
And I was like, there's no shot that that's actually how you say it. I looked it up, and it absolutely is.
I think I remember hearing that, but I think I was driving because I was listening because they did the esports category first, and I was driving home to watch it on my TV, and I like heard it, but I wasn't sure, and I laughed.
So yeah, neither of us got points on that one. Both of us got Content Creator of the Year wrong. We both guessed People Make Games, and it actually went to Iron Mouse, the VTuber, which was pretty cool, but they did not let her call in live, I guess for obvious reasons, but it was like a pre-recorded message was a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Because it was like they kind of had to have either told everyone they win or just told her that to make a speech just in case, which I always think is weird when they do that at these shows.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else was of note? We both guessed Mario for Best Family Game. We got that right. We differed on Best Fighting Game. So I said Street Fighter 6, you said Mortal Kombat 1, and that went to Street Fighter 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I forgot that I did that. I
think our conversation was that more people would have played Mortal Kombat, so more people possibly could have voted for it.
Oh, I see. That's interesting because that was one. There was a couple of categories that I'm pretty sure when they won, I was like, oh yeah, I guessed that, and I didn't guess that. I don't know why I did that, but there was a couple categories that included Street Fighter 6 won, and even before they announced it, I went, it's going to be Street Fighter 6, and then Street Fighter 6 won, and I'm like, ooh, okay, I got that one, good. And clearly, a day ago I didn't, so I don't know what the hell's up with that.
I think it might be a little bit example of us playing the game a little bit, where you're like, well, he guessed Street Fighter 6, so I'm going to guess Mortal Kombat just in case it wins, then I get an extra point kind of thing.
Right.
Tears of the Kingdom took Best Action Adventure Game. Its only award of the night.
Yes,
that is
true.
Ridiculous. I get it.
It wasn't nominated for a lot of things. I was expecting Tears of the Kingdom to be nominated for, like, most categories. Maybe not most categories, but, like, more than it was, right? But Alan Wake 2 was on the board almost every single category. It was crazy. I think it has the most nominations out of this year. So I wasn't that surprised. I do think what is it? I don't know if you saw in the audience, but so Tears of the Kingdom won Action Adventure, right? And I think even who was what is it? Falcon announced that award. And he was like, oh yeah, no surprise there, right? And then there was another award where Tears of the Kingdom was a nominee and it went to somebody else, and I don't remember who was there on behalf of that development team or whatever, but they they didn't get picked, and he put his head down. He's like, oh no, and he put his head down in anguish. And I was just like, oh no. I wonder if after the Game Awards they went back to Nintendo HQ and they were like, you fuckers, you're done. This should have been in the bag.
I don't think Nintendo gives a shit about the Game Awards in any way, shape, or form. I mean, this is the second year in a row, I believe, or at least the second time I've seen it, where they sent Doug Bowser up to accept an award with a super pre-canned speech that just didn't make any sense. It's all marketing talk. Let's see, what else was of interest? You guessed Armored Core 6 for Best Action Game. I picked Hi-Fi Rush, and it went to Armored Core, which, not very surprising, but
Right.
I just thought Hi-Fi Rush might have had a chance. We botched the VR/AR category, much
really
to
did.
no one's surprise.
I can't
went to
believe
Resident
it.
Evil.
Do you want to know? That's another thing. Resident Evil 4 didn't get any awards. Resident Evil 8 got an award, though.
Was Resident Evil 4 nominated for anything besides Game of the Year? Oh, I guess sound design.
It was
right?
sound design and I think Best Action Adventure. It got 0,
Really?
which I'm actually kind of surprised because I know people love their Resident Evil.
Yeah, especially 4, right?
Especially 4, which is like really surprising because this was like a really solid remake of 4, which already is like completely colossal in stature and legacy. So it was kind of surprising to see that not take home any awards. And what's even more surprising, Marvel Spider-Man 2 didn't take home a single thing. That
I feel bad for
nuts.
Insomniac, man. They're constantly playing second fiddle at PlayStation. Like, all of their games, Ratchet & Clank, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, all of these, they get some awards, but they're always so underappreciated compared to, like, God of War and Last of Us and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. It was shocking. I was anticipating them to get at least something, and honestly, I was like, oh, Marvel Spider-Man 2 didn't get anything. What is the fucking chance that the only thing they get is Game of the Year? Wouldn't that be insane? And of course, it didn't happen. But I think that would have been insane. That would have been nuts. But of course, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Let's see. Best debut indie game, unfortunately, did not go to Pizza Tower. It did go to Cocoon, which I predicted. But also, can we talk about, I don't know if you were watching, at the very beginning of the show, they always do this thing where they say, Mr. Kojima is here and Todd Howard is here. This year, they highlighted Tour de Pizza as one of those people. And I was like, what? What awesome, but what a bizarre choice.
Yeah, I saw that. And I felt very seen for some reason. I was like, oh my God, Pizza Tower. Like they like name dropped them along with a couple of other people like who are already titans in the gaming industry. So I was like, what? And then this was also the first time I was wondering, you know how like some indie devs, you just never see like who they are. They're just like an avatar online. We like saw the people behind it. I think for the first time, there's no images of them online, and they showed up to this event. And they're a bunch of young guys. They must have been. I don't even know how they were feeling just to be there. I bet they were just so excited to be there. And I don't know if you saw that, but I was looking at the reaction. I always like looking at the nominees' reactions when it gets called and it's not them. Just to see, are they good sports or how do they react? Like whatever. And I was looking at the Tour de Pizza guys, and I don't know which one is McPig, who's like the mean. I don't know who's who, but they like breathed a sigh of like relief almost, and like excitement, like oh man, like like they were holding their breath almost, but they still looked excited and stuff like that. I don't know, there was something very. Not underdog-esque.
It was very pure.
It was very pure, yeah, right? It was like these guys made a game and they're here, and did they even anticipate being here? Like they like you can see how young they are, and you can see how far they've come. It's just I don't know. There was something very nice about it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of audience reactions, though, oh man, this one kind of got me. So one of the first awards they presented was Best Performance, which eventually. So okay. There's two things I want to say with this. So first, it went to Neil Newbon from Baldur's Gate 3 instead of Ben Starr from Final Fantasy, who I think was the like star choice for that. It's certainly what we picked.
Yes.
And I had heard a bit of his performance before, but after that I was like, really? So I looked it up, and like he does put on an excellent show. Like he is a character of characters in that role. So I'm not like saying he didn't deserve it or anything. I just think it was a bit surprising.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Every time they cut to Ben Starr in the Game Awards last night, before that award was given and after that award were given, was very apparent. Because before, I think he was sitting right behind like Todd Howard or like some big industry guy, so he was on camera a lot. And he was like, clapping and smiling. And then after that award for the rest of the show, even after the Final Fantasy DLC announcement, straight face the whole time. Aww. I was like, oh man.
Oh man, that's always tragic. At least when he did get the, at least when he didn't get picked for the award, he was like clapping and stuff. He didn't seem too upset like when the award was announced. But that does
I saw him on Twitter later, making a joke out of it. It's clearly you take it as a good sport, but I would imagine this is like your breakout role where almost everyone online is talking about how you're like the number one pick, and then you don't get it. I imagine that kind of messes up your vibe for the evening. I don't know.
Yeah. And especially with the amount of heart that went behind his performance. I know you spoke about it a lot, and how his relationship with his father kind of fueled his performance. So I imagine this was a very meaningful performance for him. But yeah, the best thing you can do is just kind of like be happy for someone else in that moment.
Yep, and apparently there was right after that they did a thing where they were taking paparazzi photos, and there was a giant light on his face, and there's a meme going around of just his, the flashbang monitor thing. It's just him, but with that straight face. It looks so funny. Man. All right, let's see what else do we do. Best audio design did go to Hi-Fi Rush, which you had predicted. I bet Alan Wake 2. I'm glad they took away something. I don't know if that was their only award of the night, but I believe it might have been.
I think it might have been.
Yeah, they're definitely deserving of at least audio design.
Right.
Let's see. We were straight down the middle on a lot of these. We both guessed Final Fantasy for best score and music, and that's what won. We both guessed Alan Wake 2 for best art design, and that's what won. For best narrative, I went with Alan Wake 2, and you went with Baldur's Gate 3, and it went to Alan Wake.
Yeah, that was like one of those where I was not surprised after it. I was like, yeah, I don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might just be a case of no matter how good your game is, when you add branching paths and choose your own adventure, not every path is going to be as strong as the other. So yeah. I don't know. It's probably what happened.
I think during the awards, after I saw Old Gods of Asgard perform, I was kind of like, oh shit.
Okay. So I wanted to talk to you about this in the last segment, but now I don't really know if I was kind of not spoiling anything. Now I don't think there's any way getting around it. Do you know about that performance and like how it got to the Game Awards and all that?
No.
Okay. This is a spoiler for Alan Wake 2, but it's not like a crazy
thing.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. That musical is in the game.
Yeah.
Like that is a 1-to-1 recreation of what they mocapped for the game. And that is just fucking bananas that is in that game.
Is Sam Lake in the game as well?
Sam Lake is a main character in that game.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he plays like a detective or something.
Oh lord, that's really funny. Is it voiced by him or
that I'm not sure of, because I saw a clip of it and he didn't have an accent, but it might have just been a weird take or anything. Yeah. I don't know.
Because the guy who plays Alan doesn't voice him. It's somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what they do.
Maybe that's the case then. Yeah.
Well, the guy who's doing Alan has been doing Alan for a really long time. They, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what Sam Lake is doing over at the development studio, but they keep their talent close. They know how to keep them.
Yep. Well, he's Max Payne. You know that.
Yes, right? He is. He does the Max Payne face. He's not voiced by him, but
no.
Yeah, but they like doing that for some reason. But I think it's funny.
It's funny. And then I don't know. I have to like play Alan Wake 2. I have a big list. This Game Awards really showed me. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later, but like a lot of the games I was putting off as like, these are gonna be nominated for things, but I have time. I'm getting FOMO now. I'm like, oh god, wait, I shouldn't be playing what I'm playing now. I should skip over to X, Y, and Z because this was like really impressive.
Right. Yeah.
And Alan Wake is kind of rising the ranks.
Yeah, and after playing the first one, I can say that if it's anything like the first one, it's a worthwhile experience.
Cool, and I've been getting really into survival horror lately.
Yeah,
so I got my eyes on that. Is there any other categories you wanted to look at specifically? Because I think we covered pretty much all of them. Obviously, Game of the Year. I was so confident that it was going to be Zelda, and it just was not. It was Baldur's Gate. The man in a full suit of armor got to go up there and clink clank during his speech. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and that was really, I don't know. You really felt like that's kind of like what this award show kind of does, I think, for me a little bit now. I like see the people behind these products, because when it's just the product, I could just tear it apart and just if I don't like something or something's weird, I can just rip into it and make fun of it and criticize it till I'm blue in the face. But now we see these people who are behind it and how much it means to them, and that was really exemplified with the Baldur's Gate team, they felt so heartfelt and gracious for receiving the amount of awards they did and game of the year, and that that made me pretty happy. I feel like you can really see the hard work and vision behind it because of them. And even Sam Lake getting choked up talking when he got best narrative for Alan Wake 2 is like stuff like that, because now that the awards are over, we can all go back to making fun of them and shit like that. But just for one night, it's like, oh, this is nice. This is nice to see everyone just see the benefits of their work, on top of their $8 million that they got from making a game. But
making games is not easy, and I think the layoffs and the state of the industry this year kind of shows that. So give people an actual platform to talk about how it feels to make a game and all that is very important.
I was very, very happy. One thing, one thing I do want to talk about, it's not really an award, but when the Fallout people came out and started announcing the award, announcing the next award, I think, or the next category, and it cut to Todd Howard and the other person. Oh man, the guy next to Todd Howard, staring daggers into the. I don't know if it was a joke. Or something.
You have to assume that's an Amazon guy, right?
I have no clue. I have no clue who the fuck it is. I saw Todd, and Todd, I was like, whoa, it's Todd! Of course Todd's there, God Howard or whatever. But that guy, I don't know if you saw him, but he was looking at them, and he gave them a wrap-up sign. Like, he did, like, the finger twirling in the air. And I was like, oh, man, I really hope that's a joke. And well,
Man, so that kind of brings me to the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit before for the speeches thing. What the fuck is going on at the Game Awards that they're playing people off after a minute?
Oh,
what
was
nuts. The fuck is going on? Like, okay, this is actually quite upsetting to me in a way that I wasn't expecting to get fired up about it. They give people like a minute, maybe a minute and a half for a speech. There was a picture that went around last night of the teleprompter in giant letters saying, "Wrap it up, please," after like 30 seconds of the guy talking. And then we give like 20 minutes to Gonzo the Muppet to talk about chickens for no reason.
Yeah.
And then we give some of the awards. Best indie game wasn't even given on the stage. They didn't even get to give a speech for that one. What the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah, Sea of Stars one. Did we both get Sea of Stars?
We did, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I saw a lot of people getting mad about that online as well. And I was seeing a lot of images where it was like, Daddy Jeff needs his ad space or whatever. Like,
I know. And like, again, like some of the awards I understand. Like even the Oscars kind of does it now. You don't need to give out the award for best sports and racing game on the stage because it's either going to go to EA or Xbox. You know what I mean? Like
right.
they're these giant companies that make millions of dollars on their game, and not that many people in the audience are even that interested in them. So just get it out of the way. Or, I guess you could give out something like best fighting game there because that's a niche audience. But best indie game and then best music and score when you have a live orchestra in the building and you give out the music award in a rapid fire thing before an ad? Come on.
Yeah, that was not. They definitely could have. I feel like doubled the time for speeches. I don't know who's responsible for that. It's easy to blame Jeff because he's like, the face of it all. But it's so many organizations coming together to do the Game Awards. I imagine that behind the scenes, it's a complete nightmare. So who knows who's really to blame for it, and what the real reason was for the harsh limit on these speeches. I was, every time that the music started, they started to fade in the music when they weren't talking for that long. I was like, oh shit, they're going already. And especially when it happened in the middle of a very heartfelt moment. Yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't know how much time that would have cut into it to give everyone just another extra minute or something like that. Like, how many speeches did they make? 10 to 20, 10 to 15, something like that. That just would have been an extra 15 minutes, right? Reasonable. But are they on a time limit? I know that they can't make it last forever, but if it runs a bit long, what's the big deal besides it being just a bit long? It's not like there's a TV block or anything, like they're gonna play something else. It's just this live event that's being streamed. So I would like to know what was going on with that.
I mean, you have to imagine they only rent out the theater for so long, so that has to play a part of it. But then also, Jeff specifically, but as you said, the team is huge, has been getting criticism for so long that the awards are too long. 3 hours is too long for a show like this, and that it's filled with too many ads and filler and all that stuff. And I think this year, he overcorrected.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah.
Yeah, instead of shortening the amount of filler content, he shortened the awards. And I'm like, oh man, that is not the right call.
Yeah, and I kind of get it a little bit on a production standpoint when it comes to things like setting up the stage for the next thing, like Kojima coming out of his door, or the big orchestra coming out. You kind of need a commercial break or something so the crew can put that shit out. So I kind of get some of that to a certain extent, but we're not a part of the team. We're not a part of the production team. We don't really we don't know what's going on, that's like the kind of thing that I wish they just say something. Even if Jeff in the beginning was like, because I know that the Christopher Judge speech was certainly a moment in gaming awards history. So I wonder if that kind of bled into the decision making or something. I know they made like a ton of jokes about it during the actual thing. Did that bleed into the decision making where they're like, we need to shorten, we need to be super hard on these speech deadlines so that we don't have that again, but we have to treat everyone equally or else people are going to get mad, blah, blah, blah. Like what happened,
Yeah, and I understand there's so many moving parts and all that. I just think I saw a very apt comparison on Twitter this morning that the Game Awards is specifically becoming more and more like the MTV Awards, whereas the DICE Awards and other things like that are becoming more prestigious award shows. And I kind of agree with that, but they don't really present themselves that way. So it's just hard to see these developers get cut off like that.
Yeah, it's certainly not the greatest thing happening.
Yeah, but all things considered, show is still decent, I would say. There was a lot of announcements that I actually got pretty excited about that I wasn't expecting. You want to just go back and forth and talk about some of our favorite moments from the show?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let me think. I think the first thing that actually genuinely caught me off guard that I would have never guessed in a million years was World of Goo 2, which is a game that I played way back in the day on the Wii, and I eventually played again on PC, and I'm just like, what? They even referenced it a couple times in the trailer that it's 15 years later. Like, that is such a cool choice to go back to a game like that probably deserved a sequel back then and never got one. Did you even see that one? Because I know that was in the pre-show.
Oh, that was in the pre-shoot? Yeah, then no, I did not see that.
Yeah, it was World of Goo 2, and it just looks exactly like the first one, but, pretty, and I love that game, so I'm excited.
Interesting. No, I didn't see that one. That's really funny. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, I'm not going chronological or anything, but I just remember that was the first thing I saw last night, and I was like, huh, okay.
I think the first thing that I saw that gave me a big reaction was the God of War Valhalla thing, which, how did Jeff Keighley pronounce it? He pronounced
Valhalla? Well, he's
Valhalla.
Canadian, right? I don't know if that's... Yeah, he is, but I don't know if that's how they would say it in French-Canadian accent.
It was just funny because I feel like Valhalla is such a popular term now that he would have pronounced it I don't know if that's the proper way to pronounce it, but that's the common way to pronounce it. So
maybe it's just one of those on stage reading.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Flubs.
Yeah. I just thought it was a bit cute. I thought it was funny. Yeah, that's the first thing that really got me to go what's going on? Because I saw the chair, the throne in the water, and I was like, I think, is Kratos about to come out? Like, what is this? Like, I just have a weird intuition for shit like that, for like weird gaming backgrounds and prompts. I can like recognize where it's from a lot of the time. That's why I'm so good at guess the game, because I'll see like a background prop and I'll be like, that looks like it's from this. I don't know how I do it, but I was just like, Kratos is about to walk out, isn't he? And he did. I was like, what? No, they are not making a new one already. What are you talking about? And then it was the free DLC, and it was cool.
You know what is really funny about that is that there's been rumors and fake leaks going around that they're making that there's a God of War DLC coming out. And everyone's been speculating that it's going to be like you're playing as a character from Ragnarok, and it's going to be like a Lost Legacy or Miles Morales kind of expand-alone situation, like a very short game set in that universe. Right. And during that trailer, you probably weren't watching the beginning. They did show the Sony Santa Monica studio like logo and everything. So like I was like, oh, okay, this is the God of War thing that they're doing. And then they showed the chair, and I was expecting like Thrud or someone to come out, and then it was Kratos, and I was like, oh, it's a roguelike. Instantly, I knew somehow. I don't know how I knew. It just happened. That's
really funny. I saw a video of these guys live streaming it on Discord, and it just shows the throne, and some guy goes, "It's Elden Ring!"
I didn't hear a word you said. You blew out that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So hard. I saw a guy on Discord recording it for like all his friends. They're like streaming it together, and this one guy sees the chair and he immediately goes, "It's Elden Ring!" and starts like screaming. And it's like, oh man, guy who's only played Elden Ring.
It was a big chair. That is for sure.
It certainly was.
We didn't get the Elden Ring DLC. I didn't even realize until just now.
We didn't really get anything of like super hype. There wasn't anything coming out that was like super like, oh shit, this is gonna be the next big thing, you know? It's just like, oh, this is gonna be cool. All right, you know.
Let's see, what was next? They showed more of Metaphor ReFantazio, which is the new game from the Persona people, and that game confuses me, but I am very excited about it as well.
I'm extremely excited about that because I really like the vibe of the Shin Megami Tensei games, like specifically SMT, not Persona. Like I like the vibe of SMT more than I like the vibe of Persona, which we've spoken about before. And now they're kind of like doing a third thing, like a third weird thing.
It's like a weird love child of both.
Yeah, and I really dug the trailer. I thought it was very interesting and attention grabbing. What was that thing in they said something in the beginning. I was like, that's a hard line. He was saying this story takes place in a world where there's no conflict and stuff like that, and he goes, in short, it's a fantasy. And I went, oh, whoa.
Most anime line of all time.
That was it was like, I don't know, something about that. I was like, I'm 14 and this is deep. But I did legitimately enjoy it. Like I did. I loved it. I loved that line. That was cool as sick. That also another trailer that was cool as shit. The Blade trailer. Dude. Oh man. Arcane Leon knows how to make trailers, dude. I've seen the Deathloop trailer probably like 20 times. Prey trailer like 8 billion times. They know how to make a fucking trailer. That's so good.
I have so much faith in that game that it's probably going to let me down. That's the kind of how I feel about it, because Marvel Games has been doing a great job at going to find studios to make Marvel games and not messing with them. Just letting them do their thing.
Yeah, let them cook, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they said in their little like speech thing, is that it's going to be an arcane ass game.
Yeah.
And let them cook.
Oh, he did literally say that. I forgot. Yeah, I love that trailer. It's like they showed up and it was the barber shop in this kind of like rough looking town or whatever, and this barber is there's only one person in the barber shop, and this barber's like kind of looking a bit like tense. There's crosses and shit everywhere, and I'm just thinking like, oh, this is first off visually interesting. I wonder what's going on. And it looks like the barber's gonna like fucking kill the guy or something, because he cuts his finger. He looks like this like nervous like assassin about to kill this guy, like about to do a hit. And then what is it? Blade goes, "Don't worry, I don't bite," like because of the blood he just cut his finger with, and he starts wiping it on his shirt, and he's like, "Oh no, he's a vampire. He's gonna like eat me or something like that." It was, I didn't understand what was happening until I realized it was Blade, and then the trailer was just like, oh, this is sick as shit. Similar to the MGS Delta trailer, where I was like, all right, this is visually interesting, but I don't know what's going on. And then we see Snake at the end, and like, oh, it all makes sense now. I get it. So I love shit like that.
Yeah, that was a great trailer. I'm really looking forward to that game. Interesting that it's going to be third person. I don't think Arcane Leon has done third person ever.
I don't think so.
If not in quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll make that much of a difference, but enough that I'm interested.
They are a trustworthy studio. IMO. I think the worst thing that they have made in the past several years is probably Prey, and that was pretty good. So.
Yeah. And I'm sure that they've learned some mistakes from Arcane Austin. I'm sure they talk a lot about what to do and what not to do.
Yeah,
with Redfall,
yeah.
So
right, I forgot Redfall. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the different Arcane.
Yeah,
like, this is the quote unquote the good one. They're both good, but
right.
Just a flub. Let's see what. Okay, let's talk about the SEGA thing, because I was in my bed, trying not to wake my girlfriend up, being like, "This is awesome!" It was so cool. Have you seen the thing they sent out, like the postcards? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
They sent out postcards to like a bunch of like YouTubers and content creators, a lot of which were fighting game YouTubers. So the fact that we didn't get Virtua Fighter is a little bit bizarre, but it just basically said like new energy coming soon or something. And are they new games or are they remakes? Did we ever get clarification on that?
From what I can see, they look like new games, but I have no basis for that.
Yeah, they said new games, but does that mean new games? Or but either way, I've never been a Jet Set guy, but the new one, I'm glad that they're getting one, especially after Bomb Rush Cyberpunk kind of reignited some love for that franchise.
Yes.
The Shinobi game, it's a Metroidvania now, which I know it always kind of was, like a platformer-ish kind of game, but I think it was mostly hack and slash, right? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Golden Axe, I fucking love Golden Axe, and the fact that we're getting a 3D one, like the 3D Golden Axe idea, I'm not a fan of, but the way they showed it, I'm like, okay, I could probably get down with this. I'm excited to see more.
It's like, I like that Golden Axe reveal because like, yeah, it's 3D now, but there was something about it where I knew it was Golden Axe instantly.
Oh yeah, like, absolutely.
Oh, like, when you see like a reboot or a remake and it doesn't even look like it's source material. This looks like a very faithful adaptation of the source material, and I know the source material is really goofy. Of course, they pick the dwarf with the axe. So I was like, oh, this is sick as fuck. All right.
Yeah, I'm a huge Golden Axe guy from back in the day, so the fact that I am getting a new one that I can actually not have to emulate is kind of sick.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage. This one I'm a little bit, why did you not just get the people who made Streets of Rage 4 to do that again?
Right.
It's still exciting we're getting more, I suppose, if you like beat 'em ups, but it just looked not like what I expected from Streets of Rage. And then Crazy Taxi. I mean, come on, man. People have been waiting for a new Crazy Taxi forever. Everyone's played Crazy Taxi at least once. It's a formula that just works.
Right,
and
yeah.
It looks like they're just keeping it the same and modernizing it, which is awesome.
Yeah, hopefully they actually do good on their promise with new era, new energy. That's always kind of funny whenever a studio kind of acknowledges that, like, hey, we know that we aren't the best and haven't been doing too hot lately, but we're back. Like, that's always a little funny, and I think a good PR decision most of the time, because you're acknowledging certain things about yourself and your company. Like, I think that's just like it just looks good. So I just thought that was really funny. But if there's one thing I know about SEGA, is that they are pretty inconsistent. So I really do hope that they make good on their promise, this new era, new energy thing. The trailer was like really sick, but it's just one of those developers where I see the new games, I see how good they look, and with my excitement is also paired with worry. It's just like instinctual worry about, is this gonna go wrong like these other things? So I'm excited, but I would not be surprised if half of those games were not received well. Or
even come out.
That would be almost worse.
I mean, the fact that they had enough gameplay to show 5 games and it looked polished enough to like actually display in a trailer on a major stage, I think they're further along than we think. And
I bet.
Honestly, I bet this is like a crazy marketing move. I don't know if we've ever seen anything like this where a studio comes out with revivals of that many new franchises and announces them all at once. I really think this is them putting all their chips out on the table to be like, look, Capcom did it. They brought their stuff back from the dead, and now everyone loves Capcom again. Konami's doing it now. They brought back their franchises, and they're trying something new to get people back in. I think this is Sega being like, we're the other Japanese company that you probably forgot about, and we want to be here too. And that's pretty sick.
They're making a ballsy move. So we just got to see how big them balls are. Now,
why? You know how I know them nuts are huge?
Why?
No Sonic. They don't need Sonic, and they said that.
They don't need Sonic. I think that Yakuza has beaten out Sonic at this point for Sega in terms of like money making capability and success.
Oh, I don't know about that. Sonic makes a ton of fucking money between merchandise and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean just for games, because
maybe. I don't know. Sonic's still one of those names though, especially for kids.
But, especially for kids, which is
I'm looking forward.
Good universal. It's a good universal constant where I was helping my girlfriend babysit some kids over the summer, and there was this kid who was super into Sonic, and I was just like, I was into Sonic when I was a kid. And I was just like asking him questions because he was like, I like Shadow, and I was like, how the fuck do you know who Shadow is? He died. He died awesome. At the end of Sonic 2. So.
Man. It's a good barometer for what's successful is what the kids are into.
It is. It really is.
Okay. I'm excited to see what happens next for Sega, but what are you excited next from this show, the Game Awards?
Black Myth Wukong.
Dude.
Had a really stunning trailer, and I know that Black Myth Wukong has been in the works for a very long time, so I'm kind of glad that I forgot about it, and then they come back and they're like, look how much work we put into it, because it was a good trailer. It was a really good trailer. I kind of want to watch it again.
That game looks substantially better every time they show it, and it looked good the first time they showed it.
It did. It looked like not real the first time I saw it. I was like skeptical because it looked not like feasible to be a real game, and now that they've shown so much of it with that trailer, I get it, and I am genuinely really excited. It was the trailer was beautiful. Really, it didn't even feel like because there's so many trailers in the Game Awards where it's like people shooting guns and explosions and big drums and like do, and like cutting all the time. But this was like a really unique and beautiful trailer that got me into it. And whenever the marketing team shares the same vision as the people making the game, I'm always a little excited because that means that they have an organized organization that it talks to each other.
This game kind of scares me, though.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 reasons. One, there's been a lot, and not even like some, I mean like a lot of reports and allegations about extreme workplace mistreatment and sexism and all that kind of stuff at the studio. So I'm kind of hoping that they get their shit together and fire some people before this game comes out so that we can play it and not feel bad about it. The other thing, it's a Chinese studio, which... That's not a problem, obviously. I mean, like Genshin, Hoyoverse, and all that as well are Chinese. There's not small games coming out of China. There are big games, but I've read some reports that this is the first, the Chinese, I forget what it's like, the board that governs like video game production in China is looking at Black Myth Wukong as the first AAA, quadruple A game to ever come out of China at this scale. And there's some worry that if the game does not perform well, that the entire Chinese video game industry could go into a recession.
Holy shit. Holy shit. That is... I just wanted to play the game with the monkey, man. Now you're telling me all these social problems?
This is what happens when you mix art and money.
Oh man. I just wanted to be Monkey Man.
But Monkey Man game does look fantastic. Again, I hope they figure their shit out and maybe make a statement so that we can, go into the game not carrying any of that baggage. And I also hope it does well for the sake of the people who made it.
That's like you coming up to me and being like, they're making a new Mario game, and it looks pretty good, but did you hear that if they don't sell 2 million copies, they're gonna execute Eiji Onuma? It's like, what? So now I feel almost obligated to really play it now.
It looks like a game that I would love to play on Game Pass, if that makes sense. I don't know what it is. It's like, it looks so good, but I want to try it before I play it. I hope there's a demo of some kind.
That sounds like an insult.
I mean, it's not necessarily an insult. It's just like, the next game I'm going to bring up is the same situation. The Kojima game. Anytime one of these games comes out and it's so different and so doing something new that I'm not sure if I'm really into, but I think I am, I would love a demo. I would love to have a Game Pass version of it to just try it out first.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
But yeah, okay, let's talk about the Kojima thing, because that was fucking bananas.
That was weird.
So the trailer itself, I mean, it was very Kojima, and it has Hunter Schafer, which is cool. Then they bring out Jordan Peele, and I'm like, holy fucking shit, this is actually happening. This is a horror game from Kojima that is not called Silent Hills.
Right, yeah. You are more excited than I am, so I would like you to speak first.
I'm not, like, super excited, I would say, because I just don't really know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that this is the thing that Kojima's been working on with Xbox to use their cloud technology with has me a little bit worried, because I'm like, what does that really mean? I don't know, like, it's not going to be a cloud-only game. You're going to be able to download it, but what is going to be streaming into the game? And if it is streaming and your connection is bad, does that affect the game? I'm, like, a little bit worried about all that, but I just think... I listened to 2 episodes of Kojima's podcast back a couple months ago called Brain Structure, where he had Jordan Peele on as a guest.
Yeah.
And their like vibe, I know it was all through a translator and everything, so it was a little bit disjointed, but their vibe and what they agreed on and how they thought about the creative process and everything just has me so like interested to see what they're going to make out of this bizarre ass game.
Right. Yeah, I am certainly interested, but I am very wary as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So after we recorded our predictions a couple days ago, I immediately went on YouTube and I was like, I'm going to go watch some like other YouTubers, see what their predictions are, see like, are we on the money? Do we miss anything? Are we like way off on something? And on one of the podcasts that I listened to, this man, his announcement prediction was that Kojima was going to come out and announce his Xbox game in collaboration with Jordan Peele. And I was like, how the fuck did this guy know this?
That's
I looked it up.
Bizarre.
There were no leaks. There were no rumors about that happening. This man just had a feeling and he got it right. I was like, what the fuck? And we're out here just predicting that they're going to show Hellblade and fucking Monster Hunter, which was pretty safe bets.
I think they're going to show a game with guns. That's might as well what we should have said compared to this guy. That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited about it, but obviously it's probably not going to come out till like 2028, so we have a long time to wait and see for that.
Yeah, like that's what I need. First of all, my level of excitement is going to be based on 2 things. How well is Death Stranding 2 going to be received? How is the game going to look? Like, what is the game going to look like? That is my 2 things on the dome right now. Additionally, 3rd thing, what is Jordan Peele's next movie gonna look like? You know, I need to see. I want to see how their work is going first before I get really excited.
Yeah, because I didn't love Nope.
Yeah.
But like I saw the vision, and he is obviously like a creative. He's a creative in the style that Kojima is a creative, where like you just kind of have to sit and listen to what they have to say before you cast judgment.
Absolutely. I do think my only concerns stem from the fact that these 2 guys, Jordan Peele and Kojima, are like almost larger than life creators, pretty much. Like they all they need to have is their name attached to something, and there's gonna be like some crazy shit going on. But Kojima, ever since he left Konami, I feel like has been could be like a bit inconsistent in what he does, because he doesn't have anyone kind of like reining him back to make like a substantial product. Because I know Death Stranding is quite divisive in reception, and it's something that I really want to play and you know, figure out, is like, is this gonna be the worst thing ever? Is it gonna be fine? Is it gonna be amazing? Like, am I gonna get it? You know, because there is a difference in not quality, but like in Kojima's products ever since he left Konami, and kind of the same thing with Jordan Peele, except I'm more worried because Jordan Peele's 3 like trilogy of movies, I feel like, are slowly declining in quality. I think Get Out is amazing, and then Us was pretty good, and then Nope, I didn't really enjoy that much. So both of these creators, for me personally, have been experiencing a downwards trend. So I'm just thinking, like, what's going on? Like, that's why I want to see their next things before getting too excited.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely fair, but you know, it's still exciting because this is Kojima's first like official foray into horror, which I think, you know, besides PT, but that's not really ever came out, the game final. So I don't know. I think it's going to be different from everything they've done before, and that's a good opportunity for both of them, especially with Jordan never doing a game, to like test out some new ideas that they probably had before that might have been left on the cutting room floor. And whether it's good or bad, it is definitely exciting.
Yes, absolutely exciting. And, you know, if PT is anything to gauge off of, there is something tangible here. There is something tangible here.
And I think a good way to wrap up our little show here is to talk about what's probably the biggest announcement of the night for both of us, and maybe for the show entirely, which is Monster Hunter.
I do think it's the biggest announcement for the show entirely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I saw some scuttlebutt about people being like, man, Jeff hyped this one up and it's such a niche game. Meanwhile, the game sold, what, like 23 million gajillion copies or something? So like,
yeah, that's like saying CSGO is niche. You know, maybe,
I know what you mean.
Maybe it is, like, comparatively, because it doesn't get a lot of media attention, but it certainly has a colossal audience.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were some other games that I would shout out, but, like, I think Monster Hunter captivated me more than anything else at the show. And you, having Monster Hunter World as, I believe, your favorite game of all time.
It is.
And this definitely presenting itself as a sequel to that one, and not to Rise, with the same font treatment and logo treatment and everything. And, you know, even called Monster Hunter Wilds.
Right.
Surprised you didn't call it Monster Hunter Worlds, but I think, you know, that could be a little bit confusing. What did you think of what they showed us? Because it wasn't much, but it was enough, I would say.
I am very excited to see more, because Monster Hunter Rise, I've said it before, was a downgrade for me in many, many, many ways. The biggest issue for me is that it was no longer a living, breathing world, and it's very apparent just by comparing Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise that there's just not that much going on beneath Rise's surface, if you ask me. And I think that reflects in the sales numbers. It sold... Monster Hunter World almost doubles in sales to Monster Hunter Rise. And that could be due to it being a Switch exclusive for over a year. We don't have to count... We can't count that out. But I do think that a lot of people simply just weren't interested in what Rise was doing. It kind of lost its new... Like, World already gave Monster Hunter a completely new identity. Monster Hunter already had a very unique identity with its gameplay loop and its long battles and its ecosystem and stuff like that. You know, 3 and 4, and even before that, had a very specific identity. World completely redid it and introduced it to a massive audience. And then Rise kind of just didn't really do anything with it. It felt like a spin-off in a way. It didn't feel like a big sequel. And this trailer is already making it clear from the very beginning that they're trying to make it a world again, a big world that has more going on than just the monster you are fighting at any given moment, with that big stampede happening, and then like the three
so cool
big monsters like right behind you that are like presumably causing the stampede and stuff like that. And then we get that classic open worlds, like, you know, that's how game marketers explain to audiences that this is going to be an open world that you could explore. Get up on the ridge. Getting up on the ridge and looking out onto this big world. And we saw that weird thing with like, it was like a sandstorm, and then it just kind of like dusts over and it shows like this beautiful world. So
yeah, that was crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. They didn't really show it a gameplay. They just show like this snippet. So I can imagine that this game is pretty early in development, in like a playable stage. I bet they don't have anything like playable or really like built up well enough to be showing people. But this snippet makes me pretty happy. Already it made me pretty happy because it's going back into the direction that made Monster Hunter Worlds the best-selling Capcom game of all time. You know, and that's what I'm happy about, you know.
Yeah, I agree, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see now Monster Hunter kind of split off into two unique things, where we get the major blockbuster Monster Hunter World, like, and that's on every platform, and it does gangbusters, and then they kind of go dark for a little bit and do something like Rise, where it's like, you know, maybe a handheld title, it's a little bit experimental, they try some new stuff, and as you can see with the trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds, they took the idea of having a mount, not a palamute anymore, but whatever this chicken thing is, and they brought it from Rise and put it into this Monster Hunter World formula, because I think that was objectively the best addition that Rise made to the Monster Hunter formula, and maybe that was like a little test bed to just see what they wanted to do next with their big one, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I do think, like, you know, wire bugs likely are not coming back. That I think that the wire bug is going to be oh really? You don't want the wire bug back?
So what, Wirebug from Rise, right? That was like the thing that got you all Spider-Man around and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you and me disagree on Rise. I actually really like Rise, and I love the Wirebug mechanic, but I do think that if you have the Wirebug mechanic in every Monster Hunter, that it kind of takes away from that game being special. Yes. And I think the maps and the levels and the monsters even in Rise were designed around that mechanic in a way that if you plopped a Wirebug mechanic into Monster Hunter World as it is now, it would be almost useless.
Right.
And I don't think they need it to have a good game. I think the Palamute and like having a mount, I do think you could put that in Monster Hunter World and it would improve the quality of life drastically.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. You know, and we could probably talk about this for ages. I said it a while ago that we should do a Monster Hunter episode, but we need to find a good reason. This might be the good reason. To do a Monster Hunter episode. But yeah, if they did split off and start doing, like they kind of started doing that after World happened, because they released Monster Hunter World and then they released Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which was not the next game to further the franchise, and it was fine. And I think the intention of Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate was to be just like its celebration of the old generation, not to further the franchise at all, but just like this cute little thing. Rise, I think from the beginning, it was an experiment to try to further the franchise, and they saw that it didn't necessarily do what they wanted it to do. So this kind of rolling back the clock is interesting. I don't know how I would feel if they started releasing so many Monster Hunter games like so frequently, because you know how I like it when game developers just kind of cook their shit and take it easy and take time. I'm glad that this isn't going to be releasing 2024. They're going to wait till 2025. But yeah, I guess we'll just see.
And next gen only, which is very important to note.
Yes, next gen only. It's about that time of the console lifespan where Xbox One and PS4 are finally, taking their rest.
Yeah, thank God. But I think that's good for Monster Hunter, though, because Monster Hunter is always not the most visually appealing game, and I think just adding a little bit extra oomph to the particle effects and all that can really modernize it in a way.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I'll say about Monster Hunter Wild specifically is that I think the trailer that they showed, it gave me vibes that I don't know if I'm crazy for thinking this, that I think they might be putting a little bit more emphasis on expeditions this time around. Because I don't know if it was just a little narrative they were building to make a good trailer, but it kind of seemed like this hunter was out in like a bigger than usual Monster Hunter map doing like an exploration. And instead of doing it to find a monster, he was kind of just like, or they, I don't know, but just going around finding what monsters were there. And at the end, we see them do that thing with the Rathalos, which I know is just for dramatic effect. But for some reason, I got the vibe that they might be going even more open world with this one in a way that like multiple monster hunts could be contained within certain missions or expeditions in a way.
I would love that because, again, that was my big problem at Rise. It was that I went out to fight the monster. I fought the monster. I came back. I didn't really have a reason to be in the world longer than I had to. Meanwhile, Monster Hunter World, I had a lot of good reasons to just muck about in the world and just explore and experience new things. So if they were going even further in that direction, I think that would be sick as hell. I think that would be really cool.
Cool. Well, I'm excited for you to get a sequel to your favorite game of all time.
Me too.
And I'm excited for everyone who got what they wanted from this Game Awards. I think all in all, this was a pretty good show. They're never going to be perfect, but I think this was a step in the wrong direction in some ways, but a step in the right direction in others. And we can just hope that they get better and better as the years goes on. So
you just got to learn from the criticism and take it gracefully and just keep doing better.
Yep. So I'm sure we'll be back with Jeff in the summer for Summer Game Fest and then again next year for the Game Awards. But that's going to wrap up our discussion of the Game Awards 2023. It turns out this mini podcast turned into a very long podcast, so thank you for anyone who stuck around this long, or whoever watched our predictions and then followed through to watch our second segment. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and let us know if we should do anything like this in the future. Most of our episodes are meant to be evergreen, but this one obviously is a bit more timely, so let us know if you like that kind of thing. Anything for the people before we sign off, Jonathan?
Have a happy holidays, play your favorite games, and spend some time with your loved ones.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. We will see you in the next one. I already said see ya. Let's say it again.
All right.
See ya.